Oh, well, my. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to some Broken Arrow Cope Waiting Room, Broken Arrow Starving, except we're not. We have another preview, and this one's got a little bit more meat on the bones. So I'm excited. There's even deck building. Whoa, check this shit out. Whoa, I shouldn't have said... Wait. Jeff, just start... Hold on. I have to run that back. I swore. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Sammy, stop it! Now I gotta wait until your chat goes off the screen. Stop it. Don't F with me on this. Seriously, this messes with Jeff's VOD. I try not to mess with Jeff's VODs. Don't be a dickhead. Alright. The more you mess around like this, the more we can't actually get into the thing you want to see. Just the stuff. She said it again? Dickhead is not a swear. Come on. Welcome. As I was saying, I lost my train of thought now. Look, Broken Arrow is back. There's another press preview. I'm very lucky to be a part of it again. Yeah, that works, Jeff. I appreciate it a lot. Before I appreciate them, though, can I just appreciate something else new on the screen? Oh my god, look at this. Look at this sky. Look at this outfit. This, like, sci-fi / modern Navy outfit. Growlcore gave me this. Growlcore was just PMing me like, hey, I like making these for you. Got any suggestions? And took all my feedback and ended up making this just like in the span of like hours yesterday. Just made it. From start to finish. I'm like, hell yeah, this is awesome. This is like my Nebulous, Mechabellum, Broken Arrow. This is my everything outfit right now. I love it. I think I'm looking great. Quite dapper. Thank you. Thank you to Growlcore, who has made 3 of these now. 3 or 4. Count the bear. And they're just awesome. I love them so much. Thank you, Growlcore. I appreciate it. I love looking fly. ANS uniform for Neb. That's right. Embrace the space F-35s. Well, let's talk about what I know you're all excited about, which is looking at those new specs. So before I get to that, though, I will just quickly say, the tutorial is still here. We can play it again. We've already played it before, so we probably won't. There are 2 new missions. One of them is Russian. One of them is US air-based heist. I've played this before in a behind-the-curtain kind of deal, but I can play it again with you guys. It's like airborne with a bit of SOF in it. And then, I actually haven't played this one before, so that's totally new content to me. So we can play this at some point. There is going to be multiplayer later. There isn't right now. And how I wish there was. How I wish this button was not locked. How I wish I could just make a lobby and play with you fine people right now. Or really play with anyone. Play with the other 6 people online right now. But once again, this is quite a limited preview. Less limited than the last one, but still limited. It is press, influencers, and some of the playtesters and staff from the game only. And there are specific, like, sessions for us to play multiplayer. So I think this is very much like flavored towards, like, the gaming journalists again, right? Like, it's very much like, okay, you guys want a little sniff of the game, come and play a multiplayer match with us. Makes sense, too, because they can, like, for a preview, they can, like, team balance very specifically, and, like, I'm not saying game journalists are always bad at games, but, like, a game journalist who has never played this game before would get absolutely bodied by existing playtesters and players, because there's a bit of a learning, not cliff, but there's a bit of a learning curve, to this game for sure. Certainly a cliff in some ways, I guess. So they'll probably split them up so that we have nice even teams. It's not a big stomp. That's what I'm hoping for. You're an influencer? Yeah, I don't like to call myself that. I don't, but that's what they refer to it as, so... I don't like to call myself that. You guys know I don't like to be referred to as an influencer. Content goo maker at best. But anyway, so we can't create a lobby, but at a certain time, in about 7 hours from now, I think, I'll get to play a match. And if I'm lucky, I'll get to play a couple more in the days after that. So hopefully I'm going to get to play 3 multiplayer matches. At least. I'm hoping for that. And that'll be fun. I'm going to try to record them. I don't know if I'll necessarily stream them. Because unless we stay online for the next 7 hours doing deck building, like this was just meant to be like a little thing of let's look at the arsenal together. And I don't know if I'll turn a stream on just a stream on mission. Might be better to just record it, focus on playing a good game without being distracted, and then turn it into a good video afterwards. Oh damn, Camelot, that sucks. But you know what doesn't suck, Camelot? Arsenal, so let's take a look at some stuff. So, we're gonna make some decks in a second, but first of all, let me just show you what's new. Now, I don't know every change has been made to the existing specs, but I can tell you, we have every spec now that's going to be on release is all visible to us here. So we have Striker Cavalry is right here. We have Special Operations Forces. Please, while you're here, please feel free in like a couple of minutes from now to start shouting out, hey, show me this thing, show me that, I want to see that. I have access to this and you don't, which sucks. It's bougie. The proletariat should unionize, and so I will be your vessel. We will look at the things that you want to look at so that we can all understand what's going on here together. And we'll probably build some decks together as well. I've already built a few, actually. Yeah, Quack Attack, definitely. And that's how I started as well with this game. There's a certain ways to get good at this game quickly, and one of the best pieces of advice is keeping your units limited. Like, don't spawn too many at once, just manage a few at a time. You can do it, but you're not wrong that it'll be an overwhelming start for you. Possibly, yeah. But there's ways you can play that makes it much easier to get into. Anyway, we've got Special Operations Forces, we've got Striker Cav. Now, for the Russians as well, I'm not a Russian player, but I won't lie. There's actually 2 new specs here, and I'm interested in one of them. There's Motorized Infantry, which is like... Okay, I don't know, like... You know, there's more Russian infantry. Did we already have these guys? Because we already had these units, right? We already had the Boomerang. But we didn't have BRDMs, did we? This is new, right? They're new? Yeah, because I don't recognize the SSO here either. Which are like Ruski Special Forces there. Notice that Special Forces got 4 smokes now, which is awesome in their CQB loadouts. Which I'm a fan of. That's cool. Something's got moved into them. Yeah, so... Oh, so Boomerangs are gone from Guard Tank. Oh, that's interesting. I was about to say that's cool, but I won't upset any Russian mains. That's interesting. Very interesting. So Guard Tank Brigade is a little bit less everything now. Boomerang's a turret. Oh! Maybe they already didn't have this thing then. I remember this thing from the first beta. But maybe this was already taken away from them. Anyway, the point is, yeah, there's Motorized Infantry here. It looks alright. You got like some good infantry choices. You got a bunch of like support and stuff. I guess this is like their striker spec, right? But it says strikers, you get BTRs. Which is cool, I mean, as long as they're cheap. You know, you get your usual assortment of the one helicopter Russia likes to use, and then the other one. I mean, I guess we only have the Longbow and the Viper in America. I guess I can't complain too much. But I do feel like it's funny, like, all of the Russian specs are just like, okay, and here's another Hind. And it's just kind of how their military works, right? They love those things. 55-point wheeled autocannon, yeah. You got the MiG-29 Shin Megami Tensei. It's not in War Thunder only anymore. It's in here now. All this stuff. You got the staple of Arma 2 and Arma 3 mission makers. You've got the Zeus on the back of a truck. Classic. You can make some great scenarios now when the editor comes out. But what I've found really interesting about Russian is this mechanized infantry spec. Because I love value. I love value gamers. I love using cheap units. Cheap but effective. I like being cost effective. I like using expensive units too, but I like to be cost effective. And I'll tell you what. 35-point BMP-1. Speaking of making Arma and Operation Flashpoint missions. 35-point BMP-1. It goes 65. I mean, yeah, it's pretty damn soft-skinned. But it's got a little Grom cannon on top of it. It carries 8 soldiers, has 14 health. We can pay 10 to armor it up to have, I mean, some level of armor that won't die to grenades. Do you nudge your mic? Probably. And 16 health for 45 points. So, can you show Grim Accuracy? Sure can. Where is that? There you go, 5 to 6 meters of dispersion on the heat rounds. Same on both, 5 to 6 meters. I mean, I like that. I also like T-72 for 130. I mean, yeah, I guess we get an M60 that's similar. I don't know how similar. I actually want to find that out. How similar is this? Because I was excited when I saw this, but I was like, well, we get M60s for 100. How comparable are they? Because I saw this, I was like, damn, 130 for a T-72? Like, that seems good. But let me see. We'll check that in a second on Euclid. 1 second. I just want to compare this to the M60. Where is the M60? The stupid streamer who was given access can't find the tank that I know you're all looking at right now. This idiot. We should overthrow him and we should take over the preview. Am I stupid? Oh, because it's Marines! I forgot it's not armored, it's Marines. I am stupid. There it is. So if we compare these things directly, the T-72 has better armor, but it pays more. You can't up the M60's armor. It is what it is. It is what it is gaming. You can up the engine to be the same as the T-72's, at least forwards, for like an extra 15 bucks. Other than that, cannon is like the same. It's a little bit better on the T-72. A little bit better. There's more HE-ammo on the M60, so there's that. This is a 125mm, but it's got the same pen, which is interesting, with the round for AP. Same ranges. The T-72 has whatever that is, I don't know, some kind of... This is heat and this is squash, I guess. So actually this thing's packing. Oh, loot out here. The machine guns aren't too much different. ATGM. Oh, that's the barrel-fired ATGM rounds. Oh, okay. Oh. Interesting. Yeah, they do love that shit, don't they? Okay, they both get 2 smokes. This weighs a bit more. All their sets are the same. Okay, I mean, I guess if you love T-72B1 so much, you should just use the M60 Beagle. And in the end, I never used the M60, despite how much I love it, because I just ended up using M8 AGSs instead. But there you go, still. I mean, it does have better kinetic and heat ammo, which is not to be sniffed at. Like, that is... I would say going from 300 to 550 kinetic and 500 to 800 heat frontal armor puts T-72 into like an actual battle tank role more than the M60's infantry support role, I think. So that's interesting. I mean, it says, hey Beagle, my request would be if you compare the Striker SBH to the Paladin, whichever comes closest in cost. Sure. Let me do that quickly, and then let's look over the other specs in general, because I don't want to get stuck in the weeds too much yet, because I know everyone wants to see the specs as well in general. Get out of his food, Luna. Oh my god. What was it? You want the Striker SPH or the Paladin? Yeah, okay. Yeah, because Striker Squad, which we'll look at all of in just a sec. Striker Squad gets self-propelled howitzer Striker, which is an interesting looking thing. I saw this in the April Fools and thought it was one of the joke options. No, it's real. Striker SBH, let's compare it to a howitzer. That's a point spread. 1 second. Give me 1 second, we will. If you want a cheap Howie, that would be like Airborne. We can compare it to the Paladin as well, I guess. Like, this Paladin's closest. It's much faster. Health is the same, but... Actually, I was going to say armor is worse. Armor is better, by default. Armor is actually better. Hang on. Chill out, music. It gets smoke, it's airdroppable, it's lighter. It's way faster, it's twice as fast. And the cannon is doing a bit less damage, but it has more range. It has a lot of smoke inbuilt, which is nice. It's cheaper. It is doing less damage, keep that in mind. But it is more accurate. But that is a fair bit less heat penetration on that round. I would be aware of that. I would be aware of that. No guided shells either, yeah. Though there's only 3 in the Paladin. You can also get reactive armor and trophy and APS. If you want to have that on your self-propelled howitzer, you can have a trophy system. Good for you. I mean, if you compare that to the Airborne's, like, nearest, that's like the Brutus. The Brutus is cheaper, almost as fast. It doesn't have nearly as much ammo, though, so... I mean, you've got 3 different options here. They're very similar, though. What's the status on the Miklik? It got nerfed, but I still think it shouldn't even be in the game. Anyway, so let's look at a broader overview now. So, we'll start with Striker Cav. Oh, fuck it, fuck Striker. We'll start with SOF. Everyone wants to see SOF. I would want to see SOF. So have a look. Let's just go through it tab by tab, okay? We've got Recon, Green Beret Punishers, which come in... no, I don't think I did, Zaku. Which come in... I mean, I don't need to go through all the options, because you guys can read through the blogs yourself. There is the blogs that are public already where you can read through all the options. But it also is fun to hear the noises. I'll go through, so we don't sit here forever, I'll go through what I think's the best. Oh, this is a surprise to you, Benny? You haven't seen the blog? Yeah, in the blog they said they come on the Flash. Straight up. You can see, I guess you can see stats on them is good. I'll go back to the smaller views. You can see the stats at a glance on stuff, right? So I guess there is a reason to go through things. They've got their Flash loadout, which is nice and cheap. It's 4 guys with 3 stealth. So this is, I think this is the biggest squad to have 3 stealth, because usually it's just snipers. What if I'm illiterate though? Well, don't worry, apparently we're going through it. They get 4 smokes, 20 health, 10 armor, very high armor, and they've got scars for Sammy in one of their loadouts. There's a scarred DMR here in their grenade launcher Punisher loadout. And then there's this loadout that's like all their different sniper rifles. You must have missed it because you hide by all the Jesses, Benny? Yeah. They're an interesting squad. Like, I think with the Flash, even with the Punisher against vehicles, but especially with the Flash against infantry, they're going to be like a kind of more flimsy, but more finessey Forcon. Like, they can't take as much punishment as a Forcon unit, but they're stealthier, they have 4 smokes, and they have flashes and flashbangs. This is not a flash launcher, this is an incendiary missile launcher. It's the thing Arnie uses in Commando. Plus they have the shotgun. So this is an interesting squad, right? Like if they get the first shot, which they should, this could still do work, which is cool. And they're still pretty cheap. You have Power Rescue, I'm really excited about these guys. So their default loadout is only 60. Only 60 cost for, basically you're getting another Forcon Black Ops. Again, 4 smokes for these Special Forces CQB loadouts, which is really cool. I think that's actually going to be awesome. Like, I feel like there's a lot you can do with that, right? Like, even, obviously just protecting yourself, you know, having 4 smokes lets you do a lot more uptime, a lot more running through areas. But also it's kind of interesting, you can imagine, like, these guys running between your line or leading the way for your forces. Like, they could crisscross across an open ground and just smoke, 4 smokes in a row. And then you could have an entire line of infantry run out behind them. I just think it's interesting. I just think it's neat that you can get this, you know, that you can get units with this many smokes now. It's something I actually specifically asked for in feedback, and I'm really pleased to see that they actually did it. It's awesome. So that's cool. I like this loadout, but I think the thing that really excites me about these guys is the Stinger loadout. This turns Power Rescue into a special tactics team. I agree, Gove, that'd be cool. And that gives them a Stinger. This is the... I'm not sure if the Russians get a unit that can be Special Forces of AA, but this is like, if you played War Game, this is like the SAS with the Stingers, whatever they're called. This is the only US Special Forces / Recon with an AA capability like this. It's very interesting. 2.5 stealth, they only get 1 smoke this way, and they cost a lot more, but they get a Stinger, and they get a really good Stinger too. They get one of improved range and, you know, just better stuff in general. So that's pretty cool. I like the idea of just sending these guys out with the Stinger, and just being, you know, it's not that you send them out to be a Stinger team, but they have a Stinger as you need it. Also, man, some of them are so short again. Also, if you want to, like, send people into the back line, they can defend themselves against drones trying to recon them. So I think that's pretty cool. Ranger RRC. Again, I love Forcon, I love combat recon, and here's another unit of that. These guys get 2 choices. They get to go between the close quarters loadout here, which I think should be suppressed again. The machine gun is or isn't. It's suppressed on the preview there, I feel like. And they've got suppressed rifles, so... But I don't know, in the actual 3D model it looks unsuppressed, but we'll see when we use them. 4 AT4s, 2.5 stealth, just, you know, another Forcon. You can go to standoff on them, which is interesting because you only pay 5 more. You're going down 2 armor points up here. But for only 5 more, you're getting a lot of long-range power. And you're also getting a Maws, which can hit up to 600 meters away. Which is very interesting for a stealthy recon unit, I think. You check if they have the suppress tag in the detailed view? So I could, hang on. They're not suppressed at this letter, right? This is the scars that Sammy wants. If I check the detailed view... Oh, yeah, it says sup. How do you see it suppressed here normally, if it's not in the name? I don't see suppression here otherwise, as a tag. How much better are the Maws to the AT4s? Well, you can see the AT4 has a range of 300 meters, and the Maws has a range of 600. So the range is the big thing there, right? This is a squad that could be at the edge of a tree line very stealthily, and just pop off at some, you know, light to medium vehicle that's nearby them, and you kill it pretty quick, which is awesome. 84 is going to Tandem Wars are going to be better against the era. Yeah, they've got the same heat pen as the Moors here there. So that's interesting. Both of these choices are pretty cool, and unlike with Forcon, where one of the biggest things about Forcon Black Ops is the reduced price, this is pretty similar prices anyway for these guys. So it's not like it's as big a deal to go standoff with them. I think it's interesting. I think if you had a deck that had both, you'd want Forcon Black Ops and Rangers standoff here. But otherwise, probably I won't be able to resist just the close quarters killing power for a recon unit of suppressed HKs and stuff. Ranger Snipers here. It's all about how you use them though. Ranger Snipers here. This is an interesting sniper unit. It's the first sniper unit that gets to have AT. Rangers said, fuck all that shit about being balanced. We're gonna be like Call of Duty. So this is like a normal kind of let up for them. It's 90 cost. But if you only pay 10 more to get the anti-material rifle, you get very anti-material because you actually also get 2 AT4s with 450 heat pen. It's not a lot, but for 10 more, it does give your snipers the option to, again, engage some light or medium vehicles, which can be useful. Like, there's many times when a sniper team has had a Jeep or a little IFV or something pop up on them for me, and I'm like, I wish I could have shot that with something. For 10 cost more, you can have that option. You do lose the other snipers, though. This is all 3 sniper rifles, which... Is that also different to the Airborne? Hang on, I want to see that. Airborne gets 2 snipers. Because it's been going up, I feel. The Airborne squad gets 2 snipers. Scout Snipers gets, well, 1 of the DMR. But it's interesting, actually. The other advantage of the Ranger Snipers is it's just 3 motherfuckers with sniper rifles. I guess the M110 is also a DMR, and the Mark 7 is a DMR. But I don't know, like, they're pretty reasonable looking on their range and power, so... Kind of cool. Yeah, Green Berets get 4 as well. Yeah, so you go 1, 2, 3, 4. But that's pretty cool that you get them with AT4s, and that gives them suppressed M4s instead for security. So that's interesting as a squad. For like transport options and stuff, they've got the Flyer GMV. Broken Arrow is really bringing like every Jeep out of the fucking woodwork for the US except MRAPs, as someone in the Discord pointed out. You have grenade launcher, miniguns, and chain gun, which is a new option, which is interesting. It's got 100 heat pen. 100 heat pen at 1,000 meters. That is an interesting... That's cool. You don't hear about chain guns much anymore, I feel like. Cool. There's an MRAP in the spec. Yes, there's one. We're about to see it. There is the MATV. And this is a transport, but this is actually like a... Not a transport, this is a recon option. But... It has someone riding around in it. I'm sure you've seen this. You've seen the blog and the trailers. It's got a fucking operator. It's got like a green beret in the top with a Barrett sticking out. I don't mind that for 50. Like, this is a sniper with 1,200 meters of range and light anti-material capability on a 105 movement speed Jeep with 1.25 stealth and 1750 optics. I actually think that's kind of cool. Benny says they nerfed him. They took his cowboy hat. No, he's always had the bowl cap, I swear. I think you're thinking of the Green Berets, who love their cowboy hats, I swear. Now, I'm told by the dev blog that this can only work... Hang on, one sec. I'm told that this can only work when the Jeep is stationary. Which, you know, how dare they restrict his power. But still pretty cool that you can, like, drive to his position and exploit the high range to be, like, doing sniping. I think that's pretty cool. Does it ignore... Yeah, and it ignores cover 100%. So I'm not saying that you should buy 4 of these and drive them around on a blob to just shoot garrisoned infantry. But I am saying that that would probably kill 4 people a lot, very quickly, like every... what, 10 seconds or so. So that seems like a kind of general 0-hour kind of strat. So you got a bunch of like Pathfinders in the combat Chinook or something. You got a bunch of German kills on bikes. So that's interesting. I feel like obviously you could look at this and be like, this is such a fucking gimmick. But I actually feel like I'm gonna be brave and say I think this actually will be good. I actually think this could be good. You can up armor it. You can up armor it really nicely, actually, to be quite honest. The slat cages you can put on it give you a very respectable amount of heat armor. Not on the rear or the top, but this will protect you from like a lot of artillery rounds that don't hit you direct on, I think. Like mortars, like lighter artillery. And for only 10 cost, that's gonna stop you from dying to grenades, I think. Which, again, with how this thing could actually be anti-infantry, pretty interesting option, because you can go grenade launcher as well. You don't even need the Browning, because technically the sniper rifle can scare off helicopters, though I do tend to like to run the Browning for helicopters, especially if you're in the woods. But yeah, you know, this thing costs 60 now, and you can go grenade launcher as well, and you can actually be a real dickhead to infantry, I think. Also, you can go javelin missiles if you want to get expensive with this thing. I don't know that I would for only 3 javelins in the Jeep. Maybe if I had like 4 or 5. But you can go Browning grenade launcher or Browning javelin. Sorry, Browning javelin or grenade launcher javelin, which is pretty cool. Like it says, dang, that's still almost twice as much as a BMP. It is, yeah. Those BMP ones are incredibly cheap. It's crazy. Oh, but also, you're talking about the armor. Yeah, also, this thing is more armored than the BMP one now, yes. Still cheaper than Cav Scouts? Yes, fucking Cav Scouts. Go to hell, Cav Scouts. Anyway, so I actually think that's going to be a cool unit. One second, I got to tab again for a sec. One sec. Can you guys give me like 2 minutes of be right back before we go through the rest of the Special Operations Forces? I need to check something. Can you guys do that? Can you give me a couple of minutes? Can you be brave and allow me that time? Well, you gotta, because I'm the streamer. So, I'll be right back. One sec. BRB, I'll be like 2 to 5 minutes. One sec. Okay. Sorry, be with you one sec. One sec. Okay. Let's pull that back up. I just had to check something out, sorry, before we continued on. But I'm back with you now. Hang on. Let me just, whoop! Just get this. Woo! Just take this over here. Blah, blah, blah. Grab that. Okay. We should be good to go. Bazinga. So, Ivan SSB, we gave me sustained panic attack by leaving. Where were we? We were looking at the awesome dude with the MRAP. I gotta turn the sound back on, hang on. Richard new Russian news yet? Yeah, some of them. We're still looking through stuff, but they're pretty fucking baller. Where are we at? Here. Yes, that's cool. RSOV. Sorry, let's catch up right where we were going. RSOV. This is like the Rangers, ISV, the airborne drivey thingy. We call it a car, I guess. Yeah, you know, the drivey thingy. It has more stealth. If you compare it directly to the airborne, let's actually compare it. Let's go ISV. And then let's compare the ISV to the RSOV. Less spots. It's got 2 less seats for the Ranger smaller squads. Same health, same armor. Same airdroppable, slightly heavier. It's like a Land Rover thingy. It's not cut down as much. Speed, a little bit better on the RSOV. Ranger Special Operations Vehicle has 10 more speed. Stealth. Note that it has 1.25 stealth as well. Other than that, similar. It has a Brownie instead of M240 as well, and it costs 5 more. You can go to the grenade launcher. But unlike, you know, you're not getting it for free that way. You do get the Browning for free in comparison to the ISV this way, which is kind of cool. So yeah, like, it's a bit worse as a transport, but the fact that it's got the stealth capabilities, kind of neat. So it's very comparable, but just the lower size in the squad does hurt. But, you know, they're not meant to be the same. It's different options. How the hell do you fit 8 people in there? You sit on people's laps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? I don't know. I mean, when we get to play, we'll put people in the back and we'll find out, because usually it actually shows you the 3D models. One sec. Okay. What else is there in the rec tab? We have Reaper drones. Compare these to the Airborne's previous drones, only when you realize Global Hawk has been nerfed. Global Hawk costs like 50 more now. The evil of the Global Hawk has been defeated. It costs 50 more. Its optics have been nerfed a bit. I don't know what else about it, but those are the big things that stand out, which makes me more inclined to take the other drones now. Like the Reaper here, that's almost as fast, costs way less, almost has the same optics. It makes it look comparable, whereas before I didn't want anything but the Global Hawk, because the Global Hawk stats and price was just like, no brainer, just take the Global Hawk. But now, like, I might actually take other drones. Especially because this thing comes with free shit. So this actually gets cheaper. This is with 40 Hellfire missiles on the Reaper. Let's get this giant-ass thing. Get the fuck out of my way. Get out of my way. Go to this thing. This is 115 with the 4 Hellfires on it, but you can take those off, and these are against any target, I believe. They're like HE frag. You can take those off, and you can get 2 500-pound JDAMs completely for free. And then it's kind of weird here. I don't know if this is a mistake or not, but this pylon has an empty option, but you can also just take 2 more. I don't think it's changed any of my stats, so you can just for free have 2 more 500 pounders. Completely for free. They're just like, we threw these in with your Happy Meal. So, you can have 4 500-pound JDAMs, which is pretty cool. Like, that's not nothing. That's quite useful, actually. For 85. So, I think it's like, move over Global Hawk, the era of the Reaper drone is now if you play SOF. Because it's even cheaper than the old Global Hawk was. Yes, it's down like 1500 optics, which is a lot. It is a lot to be down, don't get me wrong. That's why the Global Hawk was so dominant, because it had like 6,000 optics, I swear. But the speed is almost the same. The optics are close now to what the new Global Hawk is, and the price is very right. And you get bombs. So that's kind of cool. Fantastic Miss Foss says, how do you think it is as a backline counter that enemy SOF in your rear? If they don't have AA, it's great. Just drop 500-pound bombs on them for free. Awesome. If they have AA, obviously not so great. Now, SOF has their own drone as well, and this is also a bit of a competitor to the G-Hawk, so compare it again. The Sentinel here, it's the same price, but it has 1,000 less optics, right? But it has a better turning circle, whether or not you want that, it's smaller, and it has 1.75 stealth, which is interesting. Like 1.75 stealth is quite a lot, that is infantry levels of stealth. If this thing can get meaningfully closer to the front line without being detected by enemy radar, could be quite useful, could be quite worth the price. And it's faster as well, yeah, it's 300. It goes the speed of our fucking Harrier. So, that's handy. This definitely could be a good option, we'll see. That's Recon tab for SOF. We have, oh, this is Airborne. We'll come back to Airborne. Airborne got changed, but we'll come back to them. Infantry tab for SOF. Delta Force! Everybody knows fucking Delta Force. There's a whole bunch of games about Delta Force, I think. I think I've heard of them once or twice. These guys are like Marine Raiders, but a bit different. And because that's our closest analog here, let's keep doing what I've been doing. Let's compare them to what we know and love already. So here's your Marine Raiders CQC. First thing you'll notice off the bat, Delta Force get the 4 smokes thing of CQB SOF infantry. They have a bit less health though because they have 2 less guys. So that's a bit less firepower as well. Same armor though. And also, having 2 less guys as a Marine Raiders unit could actually be good, because it means you can fit them in more transports easier. For instance, Delta Force can come in a Black Hawk. They can come in a lot of places, honestly, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people would want them to. But generally, I'm sorry, I just can't get over their beard. Generally, that's going to be more useful for getting places with the transportation. Penny says also Delta Force costs more than a T-72. They do almost do at standoff, but not quite. Their default loadout here, which we're comparing to Marine Raiders' Door Kicker's loadout. What have you got? You've got the same... No, you've got 2 less riflemen, but pretty much the same gun otherwise. At least it looks like it from here. They use HKs though instead of the SOT mods. We've got 3 suppressed Mark 46s, M249s basically, LMGs. And we've got 3 MGLs. Holy shit! Okay, that's interesting. Wait a minute, what? How the fuck does this work? Okay, I guess because you have 2 less riflemen, but you don't have less machine guns. Actually, you have more, because you have grenade launchers. You have more grenade launchers. You have 1 more grenade launcher than Marine Raiders, which is big. And you get 3 suppressed machine guns as well. And you only have 1 less shotgun, and you get flashbangs, which I believe are like that first shot suppression. I believe it just like insta-suppresses the enemy when you start off with them, right? That's kind of interesting.
New 2.00 donation
Hello.
from Ifenated Luca. Ati the battlefield straight up broken it. And buy it. Ah, well. Let's just say my Arrow.
Thank you very much. I mean, don't discount the fact that Marine Raiders CQC come with 8 laws, I guess. Because that's still useful against light vehicles, and it's also useful against infantry for instant suppression as well. Like, Delta Force flashbangs you, but Marine Raiders law you. I guess the big difference there is laws would not be usable at CQB, so Delta Force would actually be the better building CQB unit by far, I think, because these will be able to fire in close quarters, whereas the grenade launchers can't fire in close quarters, I believe. So, or indoors, I mean. So, the MGL... Oh, Benny says, flashbangs instant pin, but only work when inside the same building because of 2-meter range. Right, yeah. Or, I mean, I've literally sat on top of people in the woods, so you can probably do that too. So, Delta Force is going to be a bit more building CQB flavored, I feel, while Marine Raiders are still kind of the Woods Kings, probably. But Delta Force with that amount of firepower is also going to be very scary. That's cool. So, they've got stuff going on there. Now, let's compare these standoffs. So, if you go to standoff here, it's 25 more for Delta Force. You go down to 1 smoke only. And you get 6 laws. You get Knight's Armament AMGs. This is the new 6.5mm stuff, right? You get MRGGA. I don't even know what that stands for. And MRGGS. So you're going these more longer range weapons. That is 700 meters of range on the MRGGS. Oh, okay. And that's 600 meters on the MRGGA. That is very high ranged for an infantry main rifle. That's quite high. 700 meters on the AMG as well. 6.5 stabs now. Yeah, Airborne also, as you guys pointed out to me in the Discord, also got this buff. That's quite a long range when you compare it to 300 meters of range on their previous guns. But it's kind of funny. Their standoff only gives them laws, whereas Marine Raider standoffs evolves them to a Moors. So there's still kind of a difference here. Though do note Marine Raider standoff does not give them 6.5mm assault rifles, so you're only going up to 400 on most of the squad and 600 on the DMRs and machine guns. So it's kind of interesting seeing how the loadouts change here as you compare them. Like, Delta Force going to standoff, it's a little bit more money actually too, but they actually do get a lot more standoff, whereas I would say the difference between Marine Raiders standoff and Marine Raiders CQC is not as much, because I put a lot of value in the main rifles. Also, I only just noticed, they can only use these grenade launchers at 300 meters. They're not like AGLs that go to 800. But, that's interesting. But I feel like there's a very valid use for Delta Force standoff, especially because it gives them laws they wouldn't otherwise have. But I also feel like this is probably going to be their best loadout for what you want them for, same as Marine Raiders. So that's cool. Very nice. I'm actually impressed with Delta Force. They look like they're going to be fun. Especially with them being as good as Raiders in most situations, and better in some others, and they get 4 smokes. I could imagine Delta Force using 2 smokes to cross the street to kill somebody, killing them, using 2 smokes to get back and going to resupply and doing it again. They seem like they will excel with high micro even more than Raiders. That's very cool. I wasn't sure if they were going to be redundant with Raiders, but they have their differences. That's cool. On to the next cool infantry to look at. Rangers. You know they're cool because they hold their Carl Gustav over their shoulder with one hand. These are the Scar Gamers. They get 2 Scar H's in the squad by default. Again, comparisons. Let's compare them to Airborne, because I think that's the closest comparison here. So there's your Airborne. Before we compare them to the Rangers too long, let's talk about what happened to Airborne. Airborne went up in price a bit. They went from 75 to 85 now. They cost a bit more. Were they even 70 before? I don't know. Because they now have 2 options. You can now go... They can be using the next generation weapons. This is 6.5mm. Or you can use the standard loadout, which is just more like standard motherfuckers. You get M4A1s, underslungs, grenade launchers, and you get the AT4s of before. A very interesting change here is that the NGW upgrade for the Airborne now comes with a Moors. This is good and bad. The good side is that the Moors is just better, right? Like, this is 450 heat pen, 400 meters of range, you get 4 shots. This is 600 meters of range, which is, again, this range matters a lot for infantry of how slow they are. This is quite a bit of range for an AT, for infantry that isn't, like, guided. 600 heat pen is great, and you get 6 shots. However, there is a downside to this, of course. If you played the game, you already know what it is. The AT4s can ripple fire quicker, whereas having a single launcher on the Moors means you've got to wait longer for the shots to go off. So it's definitely more of a standoff weapon, but then so is everything here. Now, other than that, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, they nerfed Airborne up by 10 cost. I didn't mind that because honestly, Airborne was so good, it's kind of deserved. But also, it's 6 shots go. The AT soldier should die last, Cookie Jarvis. But also, 6.5mm got buffed, and we saw that with Delta Force before. This used to be, what was it, 500, 400 before with the M7 Spear? I think it might have been 500. Either way, it was definitely not 600. So that is quite, again, a noticeable range buff to the Airborne there to go up like that. I'm not sure if their damage has been lowered. Wasn't this higher before? Maybe not. But either way, going up to 600 meters for a line infantry squad that's quite cheap is really cool. This is still the Airborne we know and love. 8 soldiers. pretty tanky for an infantry unit, pretty cost-effective still, and now, I mean, God, pretty fucking effective at range. Like, Airborne was already the best US infantry unit for general medium range engagements, average range engagements, I think. Whereas Marines won at close range. But, I mean, with the Maws now, and the extra range on the Spears and the LMGs, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Anyway, we're not here to talk about the Airborne too much, just wanted to compare them, because I do think they're the closest comparison to Rangers. Let's get into the Rangers. Get rid of that. So, Rangers here have two options. One of them is a whole bunch of Bunker Buster Small Ds. Small Ds nuts. Sorry, I had to say it. But they lose their Scar H's for it as well, which is something to keep in mind. They do obviously gain, you know, a Mark 4 Sopmod instead. Though it's actually not that Sopmoddy. I don't know if they're even suppressed. Have they got like little mini monster suppressors on? I don't think it's suppressed at all, no. That's why they got a bit less damage. But either way, the main loadout here is coming of a Raws. Now that is 500 meters of range. It's not the 600 meters that the Maws gets. But still pretty good. 500 meters of 450 heat pen of 6 shots. Again, it's that thing of like, it's got a bit more range than the AT4s, but you're only firing one at a time, which is something to keep in mind. Other than that, I mean, this squad looks like it's got some good punch itself. The Scar H's look like they do a good bit of damage. Although it says here they do less than 1.5, so I say armor pen. That's how they would do their damage. They've got a heavier caliber. I'm not smart enough to tell you how effective that'll be just looking at it, but, you know, more armor pen, more killing. 249 para. And then 2 grenade launchers. In comparison, it's a very similar squad, but they lack the ranged power, but they are a tiny bit cheaper. I mean, Airborne kind of fucks this squad by default. Like, I don't know, it depends on fire rate too. The one thing they didn't show was the fire rate. But the 6.5mm, like, is the blessed future here, it feels like, for ranged engagement. I guess at closer ranges, 400 meters and under, as long as they're shooting you, the Rangers might still win. They do have the extra person as well, so probably. And especially if you went the Bunker Buster, they'd fuck you up. Infantry to infantry, that is. Isn't the Spear 6.8? Sorry, do I keep saying 6.5? I don't know. It's 6 something. It's 6, okay? Pretty comparable squad, though. Pretty comparable squad. I like the in-between between the Airborne and Marines. Yeah, that's actually a good way to look at them, I guess, is that they're like a little bit more Marine-y than Airborne. That's actually a great way to look at them, yeah, when you want a bit of both. Not just directly comparing them to Airborne in an ideal situation for Airborne. They get an AGL team. Again, if you compare them, you're paying more, but you're getting a heartier squad. Other than that, the grenade launchers look very similar. But you're getting 2 more guys. So that can be an upside, that can be a downside, depending on what you're trying to do with them. I probably would prefer the bargain of a weaker squad at 60, but there you go. I mean, you may not get the option. The whole point is, depending on what specs you have to use what you got. And Kashoot Hilo says wacky. Really? Oh, that's actually a big difference. Airburst grenades. Oh. Wow, that's really different. At short range only. How do you see the range they can do it at? They can't do it at 800 meters? Like, in fairness, that could be really good for a situation that happens a lot with helicopters, where your infantry unit is in a building, the enemy's like, I'm gonna send 4 alligators on top of you, and just clear this whole area with my FFARs, and then your AGLs could actually kill them before the FFARs kill you, if they're flying over the top of you to reveal you. That's interesting. I'd have to see how that actually works in practice, but that's not nothing. You'd think that with the airburst, it might even get a bit of an ignore cover tag, but not so much here. That's fine. Doesn't need to be too good. Then he says, it seems they let it shoot helicopter to its max range. If that's 800 meters of helicopter shooting, that's something. That's not nothing. We have a Raws unit here. Closest comparison to this would be the Assaultman Small, I think. This is interesting, though. I think this fucks a bit harder. Go back to the non-detailed view. Ranger Raws is smaller, but better armored. So the survivability is probably quite similar to Assaultman Small, and again, it's always an advantage to take up less spots in a transport. They're airdroppable if you care about that. and you get 3 instead of 2s. That's also a big upgrade for the same price here. You're also getting better guns. Instead of M16s, you're getting the SOT mod, not suppressed, but otherwise, you know, like the Block 2 M4s, which can fuck up things at close range. That's kind of neat. I'm not seeing like a wide heat round here. On the Raws, you've just got like a tandem heat round for everything. You get 18 of them, so you're getting 2 more ammo than here, if that really matters to you. But we're not done yet, hang on, because we can't go up. Yeah, it is worse heat pen in the small by default. Don't forget that the SRAW can upgrade for 20 to go to the, small can upgrade to the SRAWs, which is 600 meters of range, and that's more for, like, killing infantry and light vehicles. But if we upgrade to the MAWs, we still have 3 of them, we're paying 20 more cost, but now we have 600, heat penetration at the same range still. So now we're comparable to the small, but we have 3 of them. That's kind of exciting. Smalls, when they got the AT buff, are already like, okay, that's not bad. But having 3 of them instead of 2, I feel like is pretty cool. T50's good bye-bye. Now, yeah, being able to overwhelm the APS, because not just with 1, but you're getting 2 hits through, because APS will stop 1, and then you get 2 shots through afterwards. That does sound kind of fucking sick. That does sound cool. I'm about that. That's very cool. So I feel like, in the same way Small is a very fun unit, I feel like this is going to be a very fun unit as well. I really like the idea of small, dedicated tank hunter units. Like, close range, not guided. And if I had to guess, this unit is going to be very fun in buildings, very fun in woods. Like, this is the unit that jumps into a building, shoots the fucking T-80 in the side, then gets out of the building again, or just runs through the woods and flanks you and just blows you up. So this seems cool. Not enough I want to use 4 launchers now. Yeah. I have Ranger's Stinger. I like compare units. I don't know if you guys like it, but I think it's cool to like compare them to the direct analogs here to see what we're dealing with in actual effectiveness. Ranger's Stinger is a flexible unit, but let's look at it. This is Airborne Stinger. I actually don't like Airborne Stinger. I like, oh no, I do like Airborne Stinger. I was going to say I like Mech Stinger at 60 cost, but Airborne Stinger is the one where you're paying more to get 2 Stingers. So they are good if you want an infantry unit that's there to actually kill shit in the air. I tend to like the 60 cost Mechanized Infantry Stinger because it doesn't pretend what it is. It's just a deterrent. It only has 1 Stinger, but it's cheaper. But Ranger Stinger is kind of in between. It only has 1 launcher. Which, you know, I don't love. It is the better one. It is 2,000 meters. SOF get the good Stingers. So keep that in mind. But you only get 4 shots. Unless they've nerfed the fuck out of helicopter survivability, that's still a deterrent, not a killer of helicopters. I think having 2 launchers is kind of baseline for that. And at that price, I'm not going to spam them. They're a bit cheaper though, and let's not write them off completely yet, because let's have a look at their other weaponry here. They're not just a Stinger squad, and that's the thing with the Stinger squads that aren't like dedicated double Stinger like Stinger team from Airborne. You have to keep in mind that they're a weapons squad as well. Like this Ranger Stinger has 6 guys, is cheaper, has 6 guys, so more health, good armor still like Airborne. And then this squad has the M4s that are better M4s for closer range than the basic bitch M4s, and MG338. Massive fucking machine guns, 2 of them, that hit out to 800 meters. That is quite far. That's that 6.8 round again? 8.6. I have no idea what calibers are anymore, I guess. I'm sorry. It's cool that you can mouse over it, I guess. I didn't know you could actually do that. I kind of like that. So this is kind of like a... Please tell me you didn't hear that on mic. This is like a combined machine gun and Stinger squad. Kind of interesting. This is like those squads you get in Marines and Airborne that are like machine guns and tows and dragons. Cookie says MG338 for when the K-50 doesn't get the message about the Stinger the first time. Yeah, well, in woods, these would fuck a helicopter up really good, yeah. As long as the helicopter doesn't see you till they're in range, these probably would fuck them up real bad. And just in general, like, I think the idea of a squad like this is you don't want to buy one of these and be like, this is my AA in the area. I think this is more a doctrine of, like, this is your infantry unit. Like, you are using this to fight other infantry, to hold ground against infantry, and it has a Stinger. And then the bonus is, rather than bringing in 2 units of dedicated Stinger infantry, instead you just have a frontline that endemically has AA in it, which is a less focused, it's more diluted AA power, but it's like a less brittle option, right? Like, you can just have your line be immunized against with deterrence against helicopters, which is cool. So I think it has a use. I think the price at 75 would be a little more exciting. But at 80, it's still honestly quite cost effective, I would guess. Now, it is a flexible unit. It can also go to a Javelin option. I don't like this option because I'm a bit of a cheapskate. But you're still getting, let's look at it, you're still getting all the same shit. You're still getting, you know, it's still probably cheaper than fucking Cav Scouts, right? Or similar. You're getting all this good shit still, and you're getting the Javelin, a longer range one that hits out the 1500 meters. It's hopefully better now, because I know the Javelins are still underperforming in the previous betas. I think the most important thing here is it gets 4 shots, which is more than some dedicated Javelin squads get, I swear. That's probably one of the most amounts of Javelins I've seen infantry allowed to have on their person. That is enough to kill people. Like, APS will ruin it, but against anything that doesn't have APS, that will do some good work for 110 squads. So, it's still a new one launcher though. Yeah, obviously, I'm hesitant to take a squad that costs this much that only has 1 Javelin. I'd like to take 2, but, you know, they can't all be, like, OP. Like, I'm probably gonna try the Airborne Weapon Squad again, where you pay 125 for 2 Javelins. Because I'm gonna see if they fix Javelins. Like, I think they fixed the overkill mechanic now, so if you give a direct order, they'll overkill, they'll fire more missiles than they think they need. And if that is true, then Weapons Squad should be good now, because you should be able to just go, okay, delete that thing, rather than only fire 1 missile at a time. Non-nuclear says, but they can smoke infantry at long range. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like, again, compared to the Weapons Squad, their machine guns were better. Now, back to SOF. Vehicles. Well, this is a big tab, isn't it? SOF has no sub-tab and, like, 1 thing in vehicle, and it's not really in vehicle. They have no vehicle budget. This is not, this is just a transport that goes in infantry and recon, right? Actually, I think it's just infantry. The War Pig. It's the battle bus. Well, actually, there's a bigger battle bus. We'll get to that. I think it's in Striker, but it's just a truck. It's got 12 spots. Goes pretty fast still. Can't carry supplies, sadly. If it could carry supplies, which it's on the model, but if it could carry supplies, it would have been awesome. Even if it was just like 1,000 or 2,000 supplies, I think it would have helped it. Note that this costs more than the BMP-1. Yes, it does. BMP-1 is just, like, very, very cheap. It's incredibly cheap. I think the BMP-1 might be a little bit too cheap, but fair enough. Anyway, 12 spots. You know, it's a truck. You can put all this shit on it. It does have some interesting options. This is the ALGL, which means it'll be able to hit helicopters. It has the Fletcher, which is just an FFAR pod on top, I guess. And it can have a TOW-2 bunker buster. These are cool things to bring on a fairly cheap truck transport for your infantry, I guess. Benny says, justice for Warpig. This thing is far too expensive for what it is ammo. I mean, a lot of US trucks are this expensive and got even more expensive. It's just that the BMP-1 is so cheap, I think. But, you know, there it is. I do think this thing needs to be able to carry, like, 500 to 1,000 supplies or something. Just, let's have a little bit of supply power on it would be awesome, but, you know, I just want nice things. No, yeah, exactly. As Cookie says, if it could carry supplies, I think it for sure. Yeah, I think if it was just allowed to carry, like, a little bit of supplies to resupply just its infantry squad, like 500, 250, 500, that would be enough. And you'd put 9 Rangers in it, you'd bring, like, 300 supplies, that would be enough. That's all it needs, right? And I would be like, this thing is amazing. Oh, that's cool, Benny. Can the Fletcher hit air, then? If in real life it's for anti-drone? Oh, shit, it can. This can fire at helicopters. That's interesting. That is legitimately interesting. It can fire at aircraft. 1,300 meters range on helicopters is not bad. That's not bad. If you laser guide, does it ignore flares? This thing could actually be secretly good. Benny says, yeah. Okay, if you laser guide this thing onto helicopters... Well, wait, wouldn't it already ignore flares because it's not a guided munition? It is, but it isn't. It's like a direct fire. I don't know. Either way, that's interesting. That might be its redeeming quality. That's a cool option. Also, just if you're in, you know, in need of a truck that carries a lot of people and goes fast, here it is. Only 3.5 damage. Yeah, you're gonna have, like, hit him with a whole salvo, but it would also be a really funny kill. Now, let's get to the stuff that's really fun. Obviously, the recon and infantry tabs are cool. Honestly, they're really fun too in SOF, but let's get to the helicopters and air, because, yeah, Silent Hawk, let's go, yeah. The Ghost Hawk is here. It looks like it's the fucking witch from Wizard of Oz or something. It's got witch shoes for a nose. My god, that copter's cheaper than a BMP. I like how it's like fucking how we use Jenners as the unit of measurement in Battletech. Now it's like everything's measured against the cost of a BMP-1. It's a Tesla chopper. Do not call it that. I will not allow you to call it that. It gets no weapons. This is a transport option. It's not actually a helo. It's an infantry and recon. It's got 2.5 stealth. That's it. That's the big thing about this Black Hawk. It's a Black Hawk with no weapons, but 2.5 stealth. I think it's actually cheaper than a normal Black Hawk. And it has 2.5 stealth. Is that real? Never seen anything like it? So supposedly this is the thing that they killed Bin Laden with, right? This is the famous Ghost Hawk that they supposedly used to raid Osama Bin Laden's compound, and the Navy SEALs jumped out, and they were like, brrr! This is that thing. Yeah, this is gonna one of the Bin Laden raid, yeah. Something like it exists, we've only seen part of the tail, yeah. So there you go. Did they impale him on the front? I feel like they could have, yes. It's like a fucking Nighthawk, but a helicopter. It's got 10 ECM by default, 10 decoy flares, but really, you're just taking this thing to the stealth. We don't need to talk about it forever, but we do need to talk about the fact that having a helicopter transport with 2.5 stealth is probably not okay, and is actually fucking awesome. This thing will probably be able to make some hilarious drops, because just the normal Black Hawks of 1.25 stealth, just that 0.25 stealth was already letting normal Black Hawks and Airborne make drops without getting intercepted that you wouldn't have expected other helicopters to be able to do. It's hard to overestimate how stealthy 2.5 stealth is for a helicopter. This is recon infantry levels of stealth. There's different levels of optics for spotting the helicopters compared to infantry, that's the only difference, but otherwise, this thing has the stealth rating of, like, a unit of fucking STT. Like, it's crazy. That is incredibly stealthy. So I look forward to seeing what kind of shenanigans you get up to. I love that it's only 80 cost, that's nice and cheap. Very cool. It's not like they're making you pay for the stealth, it's just a perk of being SOF deck. Very, very cool. But that's not the only Black Hawks you get. For more money, you get the Soar helicopter, the Soar Black Hawk. We're kind of going back to front here, sorry. We're looking at the transports first. The Gork Hawk. And sorry, I've got to go back in and out because I fucked up the customization options. We need to see the customizations. Arsenal. Okay, so this thing comes with everything you'd expect on the sides. It's basically just you're paying like 5 or 10 more for a slightly upgraded Black Hawk. But do keep in mind, it is upgraded. This one has 2,000 optics. I mean, hell, what am I doing? Let's compare it, right? The whole point is let's compare. Here's a normal Black Hawk for 80. Here's the Soar version for 90. And especially with how close these are, you do want to compare them. This one comes with 2,000 optics just by default, whereas this one only has 1,000. So just by default, your transport is now a recon helicopter. That is recon helicopter levels of optics. That's cool already. 10% better ECM. Awesome. Yeah, that's 4 times the ammo, yeah, because they need to get some, I guess. They need to do Soar things. They had Black Hawk down happen once, they were like, we're taking way more ammo next time. It's like when you get fucked up in a Tarkov raid. Apart from that, they're the same, right? So, you're getting better ECM and better optics. I would say the ECM is the main thing you care about here. Benny says no carry cap is the box. Did that earlier. What are you talking about? Oh, yeah. This is the weight. This is the carry cap over here. Yeah, you're looking at the wrong thing. I do that all the time, though. I would say that for 10, it's worth it. If you have the choice between both of these, if you're playing SOF Airborne, I would say that I would take 10% better ECM and 1,000 better optics, because the optics are just good to have passively on a unit, and the ECM alone is worth the price of the extra 10, because these do get shot at a lot for me. I use the Black Hawks quite disposably because of their low price. The Soar Black Hawk is still cheap enough to be used like that, but it gets shot out a lot because of that, because of how I fling them into the front line. Like, I know during the last multiplayer beta, you guys remember, probably, we started doing some really cheeky Black Hawk landings with Airborne. Soar will do that better, so that's very cool. I think that's very, very cool. Other than that, they're very similar, though, and they still got the stealth, of course. Benny says the 10% ECM alone is worth. You pay 15 to 20 points to get the extra 10% on RU helicopter transports. Yeah, I love that, like, Soar is eating. I love that Soar isn't just, like, a paint job here, but, like, they really are, like, the plus version of all the helicopters. I think that's so rad, honestly. You don't get to see Soar, like, kick ass a lot in a lot of games, I feel like. I don't know, I think it's cool. Why don't you just use Silent Hawk for maybe 10 less? I mean, it depends what you want, right? Like, that is a fair point as well. Let's compare them, because, like, it is cheaper, but the Silent Hawk has less ECM. There is no weapons as well. If you care about that, it can be useful to suppress things on the way in. Also, the Silent Hawk is only infantry transport, whereas the sword goes in the helicopter tab itself and has supply capability. So it's a bit of both, right? The only advantage you get on the Silent Hawk, is no optics as well, is the stealth. That's not to say that the stealth on the Silent Hawk isn't overpowering, but there's a difference. If I'm going to try and make a stealth insertion and not take fire at all, sure, I'll take the Silent Hawk. But a lot of the times, like we were just talking about, when I wanted to send Blackhawks in, I was like, okay, maybe something's going to get to shoot at me. I'm going to send in 4 of you guys. And that's where the SOAR Blackhawk is going to be just straight up better. It's got the optics to see shit coming as you come in. You could take a better weapons option if you want to suppress things on the way in. It can do a little bit of work for only 5 points more. The ECM is going to keep you way more alive. And you can carry supplies with it. This game of personal drones like in Ukraine. Doesn't have personal ones, but it does have drones in general. But not ones that the squads themselves have, and they never will. They said they don't want to do that. Yeah, exactly. As Naduka said, yeah, Silent Hawk is only a transport option for infantry and recon, whereas you can take the Soul Hawk in the Helo tab, which is different for your points allocation and availability. Moving on, another Black Hawk. Now, I was really excited for this thing, the Dap Hawk. I've actually been screaming for this thing for, I feel like, years at this point. I found out about these in Arma, I was like, damn, it's so cool. It's like a transport option that can kill things. It's expensive, though, and I realized as soon as I played Russia, maybe I didn't want a Dap Hawk as much, because let's take a look at it. Basically what you're getting here is multi-roll. If you give it 8 Hellfire missiles, and then, I don't know, you can give it Stingers, like, this is cool, like, it's got multi-roll capability. You can give it Stingers, you can give it Hydras, you can just give it nothing. You know, I'd probably run out of the Hydras if I wanted to keep it cheapish. DAP stands for Direct Action Penetrator. It is designed for this role of it takes takes the people in, right, while killing people. I think in real life, you only have to pick between the weapons or transport maneuver. I don't think I actually can do both, but they're being nice to us here to let us do both, right? Because of weight in real life. The problem is it's so expensive, right? Like, let's compare this. Like, this looks good, but then compare it to a longbow. Okay? 8 Hellfires, 38 Hydras instead of 14. Barely costs more. Not as good ECM, fair enough. The DAP has a good ECM, but we can go to the Guardian instead. Hang on, where's the Guardian? Use Guardian instead. Bring the price down a bit. Guardian gets Stingers, by the way, based. We go like a little bit more expensive again. Get a bunch of missiles. I mean, the ECM still isn't as good. Fair enough, Daphhawk. You know what? Fair enough. The Daphhawk actually does have something here. Actually might be more survivable in some matchups, depending on how the breakpoints work out with the health and the armor. It does have more ECM. Fair enough, Daphhawk. Fair enough. Fair enough. But still, the point is, you know, you can bring more fuckability on the Guardian, more general use survivability against small arms, and probably going to take more Stinger hits with that armor and that health. Even though you are paying with having less ECM. But fair enough, it's the extra ECM on the DAP does make it better than I thought in comparison. But you also get less FFARs. Either way, looking at just the unit on its own, I think it is a cool unit to have the option of. I like my shit cheap these days. I love running cheap transports. And I kind of realized after playing Russia, like, damn, I don't want all these Hinds because they cost so fucking much and they're not disposable anymore. If I send a DAP in, what am I using it for? I'm bringing in 6 guys. That's a lot of squads in SOF, to be fair. But, like, when do I want my transport to be hanging around killing shit? Like, do I specifically need to get a Rangers weapons team into a hot zone where I'm taking the enemy out? Like, taking out a couple enemy tanks and, like, a squad of infantry? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you'd have to run this thing cheaper. And then that kind of, like, you're still paying a lot and you're not getting as much out of it anymore. I think it'll come down to these chain guns, honestly. Like, does it feel like an air battalion concept? Yeah. Yeah, I agree as well with the Stingers. I think the better loadout for this thing will end up being, is the chain gun good? Can the chain gun fuck? Because if the chain gun can fuck, then unlike the Hydras, which we know fuck, you've actually got staying power. You've got 1,200 rounds, which is actually going to last a little bit of a while, which is cool. And it's the cheapest option. And then you go Stingers. I don't like the price of the Stingers, to be honest. I'd rather run this for 135 generally. But I guess if I was going to bring this thing, you can kind of see a role for this thing now, is you've got 4 stingers, which, fair enough, that's a lot of stingers. 2,000 meter range, and you've got the chain guns. Can the chain guns hit helicopters? Okay. You can kind of see a role for this thing start eking out, right? Where this thing is maybe not worth the price. I guess if you don't want to bring Apaches multi-roll, it is. It is, fair enough. Like, fitting in stuff in your deck, it's good for that. This would be a great multi-roll unit. But this could be a good thing for taking out the threats it can handle, which is doing a helo rush with a couple of these things, transporting guys as multi-roll. This thing can kill enemy helicopters in the helicopter rush. That's kind of neat, right? It's kind of nifty. I think it's a little rich for my blood at 185. I think at 175 or 170 or, you know, bless 160, it would be a no-brainer that this is a good opener. It's a little much of the stingers at 185, I think. But I don't know, like, I could see it working. I just think it's a little overpriced for how I would feel about value. How durable is a Kiowa? 10 and 8. This is 10 and 12. I like that we have the option. Like, it's cool that it's there, and definitely in decks where you're trying to fit everything into your deck because you have enough points for Helo Tab, you could just not take Guardians and take these and stay in the Hellfire category, and they are still cheaper than bringing a Longbow, right? You can't bring the Stingers, but, you know, comparably they're still cheaper, so fair enough, you know? Fair play. I think that's cool. So Zilla says, I had a captain who was a Kiowa pilot. By his stories, Kiowa is not durable at all. Did he tell you about all his stories of being in a pack of 4 of them with stingers on the wings, being ordered by their insane commanders to run straight towards the Ka-52 blob before the nuke went off? That's how my Kiowas usually end up serving, so... Okay, so we have the little bird here. I'm excited about these things. It costs 30. That's the most exciting thing about the little bird. Like, I think they probably haven't... I hope they haven't. I think they probably haven't made helicopters not as unfun to use at low altitude. I think they're probably still quite sluggish. So I'm not gonna, like, get my hopes up that I can do, like, really cool high-speed, low-drag, like, operator shit at low level of the little bird and survive. But it costs 30. And that's what's really cool here. Yeah, Ghost says no ECM at all, though. Yeah, no ECM at all, but it costs 30. That's what's exciting about this thing. We have a transport helicopter that can carry 6 motherfuckers. It goes 250, and it costs 30. If you can't think of things to do with that, you're not thinking. Also, because you can only pay for only 5 more, you can make it into basically a little stealth helicopter as well. You put an optronics ball on it, which I think goes in the chin there. You should have my Igla. Oh yeah, like, it's gonna die. I think it will barely survive an Igla on like, sometimes. But it's just cheap as fuck. And that's the value here. This thing is so disposable. This thing is even more disposable than those shitty little M2 technicals that used to respawn in like a minute and a half after they died, right? You're gonna lose a little bird, and before you can even, like, think about crying about it, it's respawned already in your deck. It's so expendable. That rules. Like, here in the deck layer, you know, it doesn't look exciting, but in the actual multiplayer matches, I can tell you, price is everything. That is amazing. I'm very excited to have this as an option. I'm not sure if I would run it with the Optronic Ball. Like, it is only 5 more. I think I'd start running the Optronic Ball, and if I never got any value out of it, I'd take it out to keep them really cheap. Yeah, as Benny says, for 35 points, it'd be great for flank patrol of the Optics Ball as well, yes. Well, let's compare it to the other motherfucker. Do note that they also have double the agility of everything else in the game. Like, other attack healers have 100, they have 200, so they will turn faster. Jarvis says, do you think they'll let infantry shoot off the little bird's benches? No, I think that would be too fun. They can't do that. Let's go up 10 costs, let's go to the Killer Egg. We heard you like the little bird beagles, so we gave it guns. Again, incredibly expendable, flying technical. This thing comes with the extra optics by default, so if you want to talk about a good flank patroller, Benny, hello. Same helicopter otherwise, as you can see. By default, comes with, for no cost, 4 miniguns. 2 Gao 17s, 2 Gao 19s. Straight up. Kinda interesting. Kinda cool. I do like the staying power of the gun options compared to taking rockets, because you can take rockets, but then, you know, you only get 14 shots. Now, obviously, that's going to do more quicker at longer ranges, most likely, if you, than 600 meters. But it would be nice to be able to run the miniguns so you could loiter and just fuck shit up. I mean, those bigger ones hit at 800, so you're kind of like flying around of like Brownings, right? And I feel like with 4 of them, you would actually do enough damage as a cluster to actually kill shit. The first helicopter entirely made of paper mache, yeah. But you do have your other options. It's identical on both, right? No, it's different. No, it's identical. You have Hydras. You can pay some money up to 50 to go for daggers, which have 1400 meters range. That's not bad. They're a bit more... They can be laser guided, which should work great with SOF. They're a bit more... It's one thing I didn't look up the SOF infantry, how many of them get laser detonators. They're a bit more accurate. You get 1 more of them, and they've got that extra range. And then you get the Hellfire missile option as well. That's 25 for Hellfires. This is similar to the Kiowa. 900 meters range, which is pretty nice. And then finally, you can get a Stinger option as well. Now, obviously, this is comparable to the Kiowa. But the thing is, I do not think the Little Birds are something you want to fling into the Kiowa pack option unless you have something to tank for them. Like maybe you want them being behind a Daphhawk. Because the reason the Kiowas are good at that job is they have flares and ECM. Kiowas have 20 ECM and 10 flares. Without that, the Little Birds will get hit immediately and they will just die. So they'll lose the Helo Blob fight immediately. That said, you can still use them though. Like you could be airborne soft and have the Little Birds behind the Kiowas. You could have the Kiowas being tanked for by, supporting the longbow, shooting down transport helicopters. There's many options. I think the daggers are probably going to be their best loadout, like, for meta, right? Like, you pop up, do a little strike with a very cheap unit, doesn't matter if you lose it, kill 1 squad with a pair of these, dump 32 daggers into them, 30 daggers into an infantry squad, kill it if it's in a building and wherever it is, it doesn't matter, dies. If they survive, great, they go back and resupply, do it again. If they don't survive, it was like $100 at most. It's barely even the cost of 1 Kiowa. So pretty fucking cool. And you still got the miniguns. You never get rid of those. Can dagger shoot air? Good question. I love your good questions. No, unfortunately, only vehicles and infantry. But yeah, I think the daggers are going to be its most cost-effective best loadout. If not that, then, the Hydras really go cheap, or probably all the miniguns for staying power. But I'm trying to imagine a situation where you could really staying power these things. I guess with 800 range, you could kind of stand off against guys who don't have stingers and just low investment fuck with a bunch of infantry. Little Bird's fire and retreat might be good. Yeah, that's what I think. I think they pop up, fire the daggers off, and then leave, yeah. I bet if you hit laser heli and shoot a dagger, it'll hit. Maybe. It'd be cool. We'll get to the Guardian in a second. You've got some more options here. You've got Chinook options. This is the same as the Soar Blackhawk versus the non-Soar. More ECM. Not as much here, though. You only get 5% more compared to, like, the 10% more the other one had, right? So it's not really as worth. You do get more optics as well, but really I'd say the Soar Chinook doesn't look as worth as the other one by default. But hang on, did I even show you guys? Right, this one can't get it. So this is the difference with the Soar one. The Soar can pay more to go harder, right? Like this one just by default has 25 to 10, has 10 plus 10. Chinook gets plus 5. Sorry, that's the wrong Chinook. Chinook gets plus 5 over the normal Chinook. But it can also invest more in an ECM system that upgrades it to 25% as well, so you're getting a total of 15%. I think it's a bit expensive, especially compared to how you get it for free on the Soar Blackhawk, to pay 25 to get up to 25% with the Chinook, but the option is there. It is quite an expensive egg, so, there is the case for defending it. If you want to have Chinooks work near the front line, this is the one that would work for you. Other than that, pretty similar options. But it does have the better optics again. So, there you go, I don't think it's quite a bargain as the Soar one is, such a steal, but it still does kind of the same thing. Show some more armor. Oh, true, fair enough. This has 10 more armor. Good spot. It has 10 more small arms armor. Oh, that's not nothing, actually. Yeah, with... Wait a minute, because this doesn't, does it? Yeah, both Blackhawks have the same armor, but this one... Oh, man, this one is tanky. This one has Apache level armor. That's a big difference. Good spot. Very good eyes. Now, if you give it the ECM, that's more attractive, because soft defenses are going to multiply well with hard defenses, because you're getting hit less, and when you do get hit, you're taking more fire. It's got 18 health. Holy shit, this thing, this thing is tankier than a fucking Apache. What? The Apache has the 20 armor, which used to be unique amongst the helicopters, at least for US, but it only has 15 health still. Wait a minute. Oh, you guys have opened my eyes. This thing has 18 health. What the hell? This thing is tankier than the Apache. Wait a minute. What if we go 4 Gal 21s? This is like 0 hour. It's like Command & Conquer 0 hour. It's a combat Chinook. Just land yourself squad on top of the Igloo Team and knife them? I mean, legit. I don't want to overestimate it, but this actually looks like it could really get into a hot zone. That's interesting. I think it's too expensive with the gals. That is a fun idea. Like, you might as well just buy a longbow at that point. And with real weapons. But at 175, I could see this. I could even see you honestly running it without the ECM and just being a bit more expendable. Can't be a comment about the Freelayers point defense, yeah. That is like this is for gamblers. This is too expensive to be expendable, but this could Leroy Jenkins its way through some, like, defenses. So that's a bit of a gamble, right? It's a bit of an investment, but it could pay off. It'd be quite fun to use this transporting stuff from midfield to front line. Yeah. Yeah, it could also take, like, the odd stinger hit you don't expect while it's going to the front line. That's interesting. I don't hate it. That is an option. Okay. Let's look at our last comparison here. We get a Soar Osprey. Why? Because go to hell, that's why. The Marines aren't the only ones that get the Osprey now. Is it better? Or is it just the same? With a paint job. It looks identical. So that's funny. I think this is the first time I've seen a unit for US, at least, that is identical. It's just different availability. Oh, but you gotta pay more. If you want the Gal 17s, you gotta pay more. The Marines still get the best Osprey. That's interesting. This is like our first basically cloned unit. One thing I will say though, fair play, is that it does spread Osprey availability around if you're not just using Marines. And the Osprey is a cool, unit, so. Fair enough. But nothing else to talk about there that I can see. Guardian, we'll compare this to the Airborne Longbow, which is the best one Airborne could get. So you've got, by default, Hellfires and Hydras. First thing you'll immediately notice, third pylon option, we can go Larry CM or 4 Stingers. 25% ECM, as we said, stacking well with the tankiness of the Guardian in general. Go says you get double the Osprey if you could do Marine SOF. Yeah, you could go Marine SOF and just, like, be incredibly fast, which is its own thing as well. Like, just availability is cool. But yeah, I think the fact that you can get an Apache longbow with Stingers is pretty interesting. It's expensive, but I like that it's 4 Stingers, not just 2. Like, this actually could conceivably kill an enemy helicopter. And it means that you no longer need to worry about necessarily bringing Vipers or Kiowas with your longbows to cover them. So, like, yes, 40 is more expensive than not, but 40 cost for 4 Stingers costs less than 90 cost for a Kiowa of 4 Stingers, you know? Or 8, whatever. No, I think they only have 4 each. So if you consider the multi-roll capability there of not having to bring another unit to do that roll, that's cool. It's also easier to be multi-roll than having the micro additional units. So that's already an interesting option that it has over the longbow. You kind of get your cake and eat it too of the Guardian then. You don't have to bring Marines, you don't have to bring a Viper, you just get it all. You have a gunship that can do everything. It's kind of cool because the Russians have lots of gunships like that, so. Like it says, wait, so what's the price difference if you give them the exact same loadout? You're paying a bit more still, right? 260, 245, and I think that's because you're getting better Hellfires. You're paying 110 here, but you're paying 120 with the Jagum. And it looks like you're just paying 5 more in general. SOF tax, I guess, because I don't see any better stats otherwise. Oh no, 10 more speed on the Guardian. Speed does matter on helicopters. So that is good. Take a look at the comparison of the missiles. Let's look at detailed view. Jagum and Hellfire side by side. So Hellfires are 1,800 meters, 2,000 meters on the Jagum. So right away, better Hellfires, longer range. Range is everything for helicopters. This helicopter is improving on every stat you want a helicopter to improve on. So far, it's like dumb stats, which I like. For this role, anyway, for attack gunshipping. Costs a bit more to resupply, but who cares about that? Sorry, I'm leaning in. I gotta put my glasses on. Let me put my fucking glasses on. I forgot I'm an old man now. One sec. Yeah, not bad. Yeah. I like the extra speed. I like that the Hellfires have that 200 extra meters of range, because that is the difference that gets you killed or not when you're Hellfiring. Any bonuses? No more damage. No, that's its only bonus, is you're just paying 10 more to get extra range, but I would pay that price for that range, absolutely, that is good. Other than that, it's basically the same missile. But it's called Jagam instead, if that, you know, makes you happy. Sammy says, Beagle was my scar deck. You weren't here before, we were talking about the scars. You bring H6 of only miniguns? Yeah, you can get 4 of them. If you saw it just before. This is a pretty cool option, like, I think you could run it like this. If you really want to lean into those Jagams, you're paying more this way if you go double, but you can go 350 points for a double Jagams Guardian that is going to be able to obliterate some shit at that distance. So that's pretty neat. Has it the option for Hellfires? No, it's only Jagams. You can also go daggers instead of advanced precision kill weapon system. Difference being, let's find out. 38 to 32. Identical. Identical weapon. They just put a different name on it to scam more taxpayer dollars. Identical. I do not see any difference. So that's just the same. But yeah, I like it. That's a really good looking Guardian. Ghost is with 4 launches EPS APS. I think just about fast fire, yeah. I think 4 Jagams is going to be a very fucking strong longbow because the longbow was already strong of this loadout, and I think the Guardian is just going to like take that to that plus level. It's just going to be S plus. And if you really want to get crazy, like that is a very potent gunship. That's a very potent gunship. All right, so carrying on to the last tab now. Let's talk about it. The Raptor is here. Get this shit out of the way. Those of you who are Raptor enjoyers who wanted to see its fucking thrust vectoring give it better agility than everyone else, you were wrong. Oh, the Comanche. Oh, I forgot the Comanche. It's so stealthy. Hang on, we'll go back. But first, I will talk about the Raptor because I'm there. It has the same agility, guys. I'm sorry. I'm really actually so sorry because I think it's a tragedy. It has the same fucking agility as everything else. Not the effects. Okay, fair enough, the Strike Eagle. But it has the same agility as the F-15C. I guess, I don't know why, like, it's kind of weird, because the Raptor, it's like a known thing, right? It has the thrust vectoring. Like, if we... Look, don't make me sound mad here or anything, but, like, I don't understand. Why would it have the exact same agility when it has the fucking thrust vectoring? Like, it's right there. I bet if we idle long enough, the nozzles will go up and down. It's weird. So I don't get it. What's the agility of the Su-57? I think it's the same too. I mean, that's fair enough. I guess they don't give it to the flankers or the Su-57, which also have thrust vectoring. So I guess they just don't know, you know, they don't care. The big thing about the Raptor is not that, though. The big thing about the Raptor is, for one, I mean, default 20% ECM. For two, 1.75 stealth. We were talking about this before. That is a lot of stealth for an aircraft. So that is interesting. That's the same as the F-35s, right? Yeah. So you now have a fighter that can do that. Let's compare it. Hang on. Let's compare it. Because people are saying compare it to the other ones. Compare it to Russian Air. 985, 850, 850. Okay, so it's just the same as the F-15C as the F-57. They are the same. They're all like the air superiority fighters. Someone needs to send a Dev's blueprints. Yeah, Benny, absolutely. Though my favorite is still going to be the Vipers, I think. Anyway, come back from that. We'll do the Raptor comparison. We'll go back to the Comanche because I'm already here now. Yeah, same agility. And I think the big weakness of the Raptor is going to be no fuel. It has no option for more fuel tanks and has no CFTs or anything. It really isn't going to last long. You're going to get it in there, you need to do what you want to do with it and then get out. Or you need to get good with managing your afterburners. Apart from that, though, what can it bring? The Raptor actually can bring some ground stuff. It can bring, you know, if we're going to go multi-roll, it can bring Stormbreakers, bring J-Sows, it can be a bit F-35y. In fact, it basically has all the weapons loadouts of an F-35B from the Marines, or whatever it is. So this is Boo, nobody cares for the AC-130. Shut up, Sammy. The big thing that it gets that is going to be exciting is the JADAMs. These are basically like the AIM 260s that the F-18s get. These are the longer range missiles. They have 9,000 meter range. Same damage as an AMRAAM. So I think the 260s actually beat them there because the 260s have more damage. But they have the long range. So you can get one of the best ASS in the game probably here. Of hypersonic missiles too, it'll be fast. I hope so, yeah. This is actually a stat. JADAM. Doesn't show you their acceleration, but that'd be nice, yeah. But yeah, you can come in with 4 JADAMs, 2 AMRAAMs, 2 Sidewinders, and the Gatling. 850 maneuvering and 1.75 stealth. I do think the fuel would make them a bit hard to use, though, so I'm not even sure I want Raptors a lot. I'm going to try them, but I'm a bit of a fuel hog, and I don't think I can manage that little fuel. And they're also pretty expensive. The max speed is lower than Amaranth. Does it say that? I didn't see the stat. Is it there? I'm max speed 800. It is. That is weird, isn't it? These are meant to be faster, right? That is odd. Time to leak some more War Thunder blueprints. But other than that, there's nothing else really to look at with them, right? Yeah. Cool fighter. Cool fighter. Good ECM as well. But let's go back because, yes, I forgot the most important motherfucker. Probably my favorite unit I've been waiting for. The fucking Comanche! I'm sorry. It is that stealthy. It has 2.5 stealth. Again, we were talking about this is crazy. This has Ghost Hawk levels of stealth. It is a sexy looking thing, by the way. I think it looks amazing. Again, Generals fans rejoice. That is an insane amount of stealth, and now it's on something with guns. We can't bring as many Hellfires, because there just isn't as much weapon-based size in this thing. It's all internal. But you can bring 3 of them. They're not the Jagums, but they are a bit better. They're AGMK. They're top attack, and like all Hellfires, I guess. And they have 100 meters more range than the other ones. That's kind of cool. It has... Sorry, I was about to say it has 2.5 stealth again, because I just keep going back to it. It has 2.5 stealth. It's crazy. It has a lot of speed. Let's compare this to its nearest relative of the Guardian, right? Let's go down to, like, a more normal build for the Guardian. Like, let's say we put daggers on as well. Okay. It's surprisingly cheap. You only have to pay 20 to get a Radar Plus that has 2400 optics. You don't need to pay for that either, but I probably would, because I think this thing is going to be incredibly good at doing its own shit. Like, it can bring stingers. It can bring 4 stingers per pylon, which is fucking cool. You're paying a bit for them, but, like, you know, I think it's very flexible. Like, with the Guardian, you have to pay 100 to get, like, or 120 to get 8 Hellfires. With the Comanche, you can kind of decide how far you want to go. You can go, okay, I just want 2 Hellfires. I want 4 Hellfires. Maybe I want all 6 Hellfires. Maybe I want 4 Hellfires and some free daggers or hydras. Maybe I want some stingers. You can go fucking all stingers, and unlike the little birds, you can actually be a serious fucking threat as an anti-helo. Not because of the ECM, because fair enough, actually, the Kyle is better for the ECM there, but because of the stealth. You're always going to get first shot, unless they've got optics, you know, specifically scanning you. You might even be able to fucking shoot and back away, and slink back into stealth and come back again. This is going to be like the micro helicopter, I feel like. They have the external pylons model. Yeah, no. When it says outer pylons, have a look when it opens, you'll see. They aren't external. Everything is internal on this thing. But you can see it's, Oh, come back, fucker. It's talking about there's 3 pylons that are mirrored across the 2 wings. Come back. And now you can see, yeah, there's your 3 options like that. Cookie Jarvis says, I'm surprised they haven't given the Comanche its wings. It could have that, gave it more hard points. Yeah, but I don't know, maybe they didn't want to fuck around of lowering its stealth that way. I think that is expensive. What the fuck? Yeah, it is. It is expensive. So I think this is going to be one of the best units, because it has less Hellfires, but think about it. It's going to be so much... It's going to have such an easier time of shooting them without dying, I feel. Like, this thing, I think, is actually going to be able to pop up over a hill, or, you know, just kind of creep into range, kill a couple of tanks, and then run away before it gets detected and shot back. You know, probably you're only going to fire 2 of them and then fuck off. Which might even be a reason to not go 6 of them. Do they count as different launchers? If these count as 3 separate Hellfire launchers, you'll also be able to shoot way quicker with 3 of them. So this might ripple fire off really quickly. How much stealth do Kiowas have? I think it's like 1.25, if not 1.7. It's 1.7, they're quite stealthy, because they're small. So yeah, very cool unit. I look forward to using it. I think in whatever configuration, it's going to be good. Because it's very cheap for the price. Like, it's very cheap for the price. 250, and if you take the radar off, 230. And that's all Hellfires. You can go to 200, still have 4 Hellfires. And that's enough to kill a tank or 2, fuck off, resupply, and come back and do it again. That's very cheap for what it can do, right? 200. That's very cheap for something with enough Hellfires, because you can nickel and dime the Hellfires. That's just enough Hellfires to kill something, leave, come back. I think that's cool. 200 cost? That's good, right? Cheaper than the Daphhawk. So I'm excited. I reckon that's going to be a great unit. Now, Air, sorry. Raptor we've looked at. F-35A, this is the same as the F-35B, but it can bring way better weapons. It doesn't have vertical takeoff, so it has more room for weapons. You got 2,000 pounders. Boom. Right away. Just stop there. Really good. Sammy, shut the fuck up. Stop saying boring about everything I do. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Sammy, you know what? Shut your fucking mouth. Here. Scar. Scar. No scars. You weren't fucking here before. 4 scars. Scar. Mark 13, which is like a scar. Sorry guys, I'm gonna do this first so he shuts the fuck up. That's all of them. Are there any in here? No, no scar. Scars, there's scars in the Rangers. Every Ranger squad comes with 2 scars, Semi. You lose them if you go Bunker Busters. Yeah, you can go like a full scar build, Semi, for sure. No scars. No scars. And then, bada fucking bing, bada boom. We have to show Sammy the fucking, this shit first. Here's the fucking AC-130, Sammy. Here you go. It's got a Bushmaster autocannon and a fucking howitzer on the side. You can chuck blast frags and shit onto the pylons. You can go that on both sides. You can chuck Griffin missiles out of the ramp. And then you have 2 different outfits for the guns loadout. You can go that loadout, or you can go give it a mini, not a minigun, a Gatling gun, like a plain nose gun, as well as, it doesn't go on a nose, it's like still shot to the sides. And you can get a Bofors 40mm. Bofors is back, holy shit. A Bofors 40mm and a howitzer on the side as well. So there you go. The COD loadout. Yeah, this is the COD loadout. There you go. That's 15% ECM, 15 flares. It can laser designate its own targets or targets for someone else. There's a lot of loader time. It has 6,000 optics. Oh, they provided tooltips. So oh, they provide... Wait, what? Holy shit, it can... Oh shit, it can spot ground units. Oh shit, it can call its own targets. That's actually cool. Oh shit, it can actually call its own ground targets. It has 2400. It has best in show ground optics range. No, that actually transforms this thing. You don't understand. I was just showing it for Sammy. That transforms this plane. This thing is now a recon drone. Don't think of it like a useless plane is going to get shot down because in a contested airspace. This is now a global hawk that costs 10 more and can fucking kill everything it spots. That's actually interesting. I'm not gonna lie, that's actually interesting. I actually want to use this now. I didn't realize that. It's cool that they've added tooltips. I should mouse over this more. That's really good to know. Is there any other secret tooltips that tell me, like, rate of fire and stuff? Practically winning. Yeah, no, this plane is good now, actually. That just changed the game. Yeah, I don't think so. That's actually good. Okay, fair enough. I'm actually interested in using that thing now. I'll have to fit it into my decks. How about that, huh? Nice. Benny says, never forget they took F-35 grabs, by the way, because it was only OP to only do this shit. To be fair, Benny, I know you're an F-35 enjoyer, but to be fair, that took this from a meme to something I'm actually considering using, so I think it needed it. What's the ground optics of the stealth recon drone? Oh, like 5,500. Like, this is still not good optics, but the fact that it is a plane that can spot ground at all is very different. Let's see, C-130 at the end. This is the duck-nosed C-130. This is just the SOAR version of the transport plane. I don't know what the fuck is stored in here. It can't spot ground, even though it's got that big honkin' optics ball there, which is lame. I don't know what is stored in that big bulbous nose, in that ulcer. But it's just like a more ECM'd up version for cargo, for airdropping. Looney Tunes C-130, I love it. Yeah, it looks pretty good, honestly, with the ECM. Like, it'll actually survive. IRL is a ground search radar. Oh, that's kind of neat. Nifty. Anyway, that's cool. We're going to reverse order now, so... What the hell does that say? I got my glasses on. Probably... No, I know. It says proudly... Proudly something tested and something at the... Something and woman by the men and women of the something command test team. Proudly something, yeah. Probably woman, that's what it says. B2 Spirit. Is this thing gonna be good? It's got the biggest turn radius in the fucking game. It goes like an okay speed, but it can't afterburn, right? God, it looks cool though, it's like an alien. Spirit of America! I mean, that's worth using just for that, right? I gotta ruin the stealth paint by painting it red, white, and blue. It comes with a tactical nuke, but that's not the way I'd like to fit it into my deck. Yeah, it only costs 100 for the chassis alone. It's what you're bringing that costs a lot. Cheapest loadout here is 80 Mark 82 500 pounders. It's got 1.75 stealth, right? Like, that's the big thing here. I think of it in terms of like, well, it's not getting out, but I guess the point is it gets in. Insofar as the other options like the B-52 and the Lancer would get detected and shot down before they can get in to drop their bombs, this thing is a giant F-35. So it might be a one-way trip, but you could conceivably actually get these 80 bombs off before it dies, with 30 health and 1.75 stealth and 20 ECM and flares. It's faster than a Harrier too, yeah. Like, for 400 cost, you could practically fit this into your deck. You could also very much fit, for 500 cost, this is just the cost of like effects, 16 2,000 pound bombs. That is very powerful. This is probably the plane that gets me into carpet bombing. Because this could actually get in with that F-35 stealth and get the bombs off. Probably will die, but you could turn a point with this. You could do it. Just a carpet bomb line of 16 2,000 pounders is impressive. You can also pay 50 more. You can get them all as JDAMs. And that's getting even more interesting because now you can just rock up and just for only 550. This is expensive, cheap for what you're getting here. You can just rock up and fucking just bam, 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 bam. Just 16 things are just dead. So that is also very interesting. We are getting a bit expensive to fit it into a deck at this point. You can also go Jace House though, which is also cool. You can get 2 mops. Look at these things. My god. These things already kill everything in the game, basically. Look at these things. Up to 600 cost now. MOP. What does it stand for again? What's better than Nuke? I reckon the mops are going to be better than Nuke. Yeah, I reckon Nuke is the meme still, but mops are, like, actually potentially useful. Because you're still only costing 600. You got to make sacrifices in your air tab to take this. But in a big air tab combo, you can afford this. It is going to obliterate anything it hits. So let's look at the details. Damage 130, blast radius 260. A nuke's blast radius is about 700, I think. So this is pretty fucking big. I think, for comparison, you got 150 on a 2,000 pound bomb. So we're getting pretty fucking big. It's gonna kill anything it hits. It's low drag. Wait. That means you drop it from high? Yeah, you need to drop it from high. No. Low drag is you drop it from high out, Benny. High drag bombs, it's reversed, yeah. That would be kind of funny, though. Yeah, I agree. No, the B2 doesn't get to do anything cool and low like the Lancer does. So I reckon these could, like, actually legit be useful if you're going to go that big. Then there's 16 Jasms. This isn't that exciting because this is, like, the Lancer's build, and, you know, we already have that. But fair enough. And then you have the nuke for 1,000, which, you know, do we really need to go over the strategy of using the nuke? You wait until I've gotten to your point with, like, a unit that costs 75 points. And then you drop a nuke, and you miss half of my cheap infantry with it anyway, and then you rage quit the game. Shame this game is set up the era of toss bombers. But yeah, I think there's legit these 3 options. The 500 pounders, the 200,000 pounders, and the 2,000 pound JDAMs. I think there's legit options to actually use these. I think that could work. So that's cool. Speaking of other options, last thing here, the Nighthawk. Now, what the fuck does the Nighthawk do in this game, you might ask? Well, it gets flares for one thing, which was generous of them. This ain't War Thunder. It actually gets countermeasures. I don't know where they come from, but it gets them. It's actually got a good turning radius. It's a stealth fighter, folks. It gets flares. It gets 20 ECM, which is good. It has self-lays for free. 1.75 stealth like an F-35. But Beagle, you ask, still, why would we use this thing? Because it's cheap as fuck. It's way cheaper than an F-35. Grease is the now who countermeasures IRL. Oh, there you go. Good. I'm glad we get him too. It does look cool as well, of course, is the other thing. But it's cheap as fuck. The airframe itself is very cheap compared to bringing in an F-35. So you can cut away the AMRAAMs, cut away the afterburning, cut away the stealth, fighter ability, just go down to stealth bombing. And just really like min-max here. You can bring two, no flexibility in loadout. You got to bring two of the same thing, but you can bring two legitims for 50, 500 pounds, 2,000 banners for 100, 2,000 banners for 150. You're paying more for this than you would on a Strike Eagle or something, so keep that in mind. It's a bit slow though. Yeah, the lack of afterburner is going to be its biggest weakness, I think. And that is why, actually, I think its best loadout is incoming. Because yes, all of this is like a cheaper way to provide the ability of an F-35, but I actually think its best loadout is going to be this one. Because I think this is the cheapest way the US can bring in JASMs. So it's kind of like ignoring the whole stealth part of it, honestly, funnily enough. Just the fact that this is the cheapest way that the US can bring in a couple of cruise missiles. Because you're paying so little for the plane, so you just bring it in for 300 cost, whereas on effect, you'd have to pay like 450, right? For my other build that had JASMs, or this is like 300, so it's much more easier to fit in, right? So yeah, you can either play it as a cruise missile truck, or you can bring it in and do non-afterburning, but very cheap bombing. Like, this cheapness is very valuable. I'd be tempted to go to 2,000 pounders, I think, for this thing. I'd be worried it wouldn't get away at that price without an afterburner, but it's still pretty cheap, so that's cool. Anyway, that's all of the SOF deck. Anybody got any questions about the SOF deck? Anything you want to go back and look at that we missed before we move on to the Striker deck? I love that we can just sit here for like 2 hours just looking at the deck. Looking at the spec. You guys enjoying yourself? You like seeing all this stuff? I like doing a bit of a review of stuff. I think it's interesting. I hope it feels pretty ideal for enough flankers. Yeah, like, nice and cheap. You probably could even specialize in that by going 1,000 pound, or honestly, even 50 pounds. And just being like a dirt cheap 150 cost bomber to just kill individual recons. Does the F-35A get a gun? Yes. Yes, it does. Which, you're right, that is an improvement. I forgot that the F-35 doesn't. You compared to the F-35B? Sure, we can do that. Just having an F-35 that can drop 2,000 pounders is crazy, honestly. That was like the one weakness of the F-35B, is it couldn't drop big bombs. So that's a pretty big uppies, you know? That's kind of what I'll be running it on. Yeah, so we get the gun. Every other stat should be the same, though. But we do get the gun. Wait, F-35 gets harms? Oh, yeah, it can get fucking harms, by the way, yeah. Yeah, it can bring in... I mean, I kind of just, like, glanced over everything. But yes, it can get JSM cruise missiles at 10,000 meter range. It can get harms. It's very flexible. It's like the fax. It can do a lot of shit. Harms under 35 is dirty. Yeah. I personally don't feel the need for it because I feel like harms engage from far enough away that you don't need stealth to survive on a seed plane. That's why Growlers can do the job just fine. If you micro them right. That said, it is a cheap option. Like, it's pretty fucking cheap. So if you don't want to do any AMRAAMing at all, you can bring in a harm for free to just fire one off. It's just fuck it. Just see how it goes while you drop your JDAM. So, yeah. Cookie says, yes, but how will they know to turn their AA off if they don't see you first? I don't know. I don't do that. I don't think people generally do that. Maybe it's because we're all bad, but I think it's because you have to stop cruise missiles that it's kind of not as simple in this to turn off your radar like in Wargame. In Wargame, it's different because, like, you don't have to keep your radar on to, like, intercept all the cruise missile spam and shit. In this game, if you get suppressed by Seed, you are actually losing something because now they're just going to cruise missile the fuck out of your line and you can't intercept that, or they're going to nuke you. What does a harm do? It's anti-radar. Yeah, harm's another enemy radar AA. Alright. Riddles and Raiders. I did before. Just for you, I want to move on to Strike, but just for you, I'll do it again, and I'll tell you that basically, just for you, Marine Raiders are slightly more tinted towards being a longer-ranged option in, like, woods, I would say, whereas Delta Force are going to do better in buildings, but they're both very comparable. Delta Force gets more smoke. flashbangs. Delta Force gets machine guns in the way that Marine Raiders don't. It's very exciting. Delta Force has such good weapons. They fit in better transports because of their 12 size. And if you go stand off for them both, I'll just show you right here before we move on. Maws for the Marine Raiders, but Delta Force gets, like, 6 points. We can actually see the caliber. What is it? 6.5mm range guns. Caliber guns, sorry. So you go. But we are going to move on to Striker now. So, I remember I had an NCO, one of my AITs, who failed Delta Force because he failed the Psych Eval. Well, he ain't got a beard like this now then. So, Copio, you got it. You got it, Priest. We move on to Striker now. Now, Striker is not SOF. Obviously, it's like, oh, boo, all the cool fun toys are in SOF. Actually, though, hold your fucking horses, because I think Striker is really exciting too. And one of the main reasons for me is the F-16s. The F-16s, I think, are going to be one of the most cost-effective planes in the fucking game. We'll get to that. But beyond that, Strikers are also going to be very flexible and good at their options. Also, best support tab in the US side, completely, by far. HIMARS, 2 different kinds of Patriots, which are way better than the other Patriots that are in Armored. What the fuck is this thing? I don't know, it's a little moving van, but it has 16 Stingers on it that can multi-target, and you can turn them into Hellfires. Hey, why the fuck not? You're America. Why not have a fucking truck that costs $150 that has 15 Hellfires on it? Why not? Why not? Oh, can they shoot helicopters? You sure bet they can. Can they shoot tanks? Top down. Why the fuck not? Why not? It goes 95 on the highway. It dies if you shoot it, but you're an idiot if you let it get shot. Up armor it. It'll take a tank hit. You'll piss someone off. Let's fucking go. Want 15 Sidewinders? Sure, War Thunder's a lot easier since I stopped flying a plane. I just drive around under Sinai Desert now. I just drive around Rocky Pillars. I never fly into them anymore. This thing is cool. I think I want to go tab by tab, but actually, like, knowing how good the Shorehead Bradley is, I think this thing could actually fuck as like a ground support option because it can defend you from helicopters. And it can also fuck up tanks. Like, as long as you actually tank for it with like an actual tank in front, like an armored unit, this thing could probably just do all your killing for you. It's like a Stormcaller from Mechabellum. So anyway, pretty fucking cool unit. Even just for 135 for 15 Stingers that multi-target and fire once every 2 seconds, it's going to be able to fire at 2 helicopters at once. And it's the good Stingers, right? That go a little bit further. Yeah, 2,000 meters you can turn the radar on. Like, this thing is good. This truck is going to slaughter. I think this thing is going to get all the bitches. Anyway, let's start going tab by tab. There isn't quite as many units to tab by tab here. But let's have a look at them. And then we'll briefly look at the Russian stuff, because why not? So, tab by tab. Scouts. Boring, right? Wrong, idiot. This unit is actually really good. It looks really boring and generic, because that's what Striker is. Striker looks boring and generic, because it's like the most US grunt, US Army spec. But actually, I think you're going to get like some shitty, cheap, bad recon unit. Looks inside, it's Forcon. Holy shit, guys, more Forcon. Forcon is one of the best recon units. You just got more of it. It's got the, like, one less AT4, but it comes with AT4s. Again, the big thing about Black Ops for Forcon is it cuts the price down to 60, and costs everything with keeping the recon useful. But you lose your AT4s for that, and I've often the nod over that. You don't have to make that cost with Scouts. With Scouts, you just get the AT4s, which is nice. Other than that, it's just a cheap Forcon. It's, like, not as CQB, like, they're not going to actually, like, slay, like... Holy shit, did they buff Forcon's rifles? Oh my god. Did they always have 3 damage? I thought it was 2.5. Did Forcon get buffed? Way worse armor? Yeah, their armor is worse, for sure. Forcon is still the better unit for actually, like, chatting, but Scouts can do the same thing they can with good tactics, I think. And more importantly, they're a combat-capable squad that will, for the same price, do the same thing as Forcon, has better AT, and has a machine gun even, and let's be honest, will kill any Russian unit they run into anyway that isn't, like, the Black Berets or whatever. Penny says, like, are you entry levels of armor? Yeah, well, welcome to Strikers, I guess. But I still think they're good. I still think that's really fucking good for a recon unit, to just be cheap like this. The best scouting cyber team is a bit rough. Yeah, no snipers for Striker. Striker also has no helicopters. Non-nuclear says, importantly, scouts lets you bring the recon striker, which has insane loadouts. Yes, we'll get to that too. But I think this is going to be a good unit. 4-con is great. More combat-capable recon units is just great. We have the Armored Knight. They really pulled every fucking weird US vehicle out of the woodwork. I love it. Yeah, you pick 2 specializations. That's right, Andreas. You pick 2 specializations, then build them together. What is that? You've seen this before if you've played Arma enough, probably. It's just like this little armored car thing. It has 2400 optics for 65 cost is what it is. And laser designations. So that's kind of neat. This is like your premium recon unit in this tab. Well, till we get to the Striker RB. You can also get a less recon-focused version of it that's cheaper and can bring better stuff. You can have an AGL, though it's quite expensive. But that's because this is the turret that brings both... this is the AAVP's turret. This is the HMG plus AGL. And if you use an AAVP, you know how hard this thing can fuck. Still, I would probably just pick one or the other, though. These things have enough wheels for Striker Brigade. Well, don't worry, buddy, because here come the spider wheels. Striker RV, this is a transport option for the scouts. 6, this is like a lab. It has 6 cargo spots. It has 14 health, so it's better than a lab in that sense, I think. But more expensive. Comes with smokes by default. All strikers are airdroppable. Laser designation by default. 2400 optics. Great optics. 1.25 stealth. This is the big thing about strikers. They get a lot of options. Every striker can get APS. It costs a lot. Don't get me wrong. It's a premium option. I'm not sure if I'd take it on that many of them. But I guess if you're going strikers, it's like the reason you go strikers, honestly. You get 2 APS charges, and you get, you know, reasonable armor. Like, what? Like, unupgraded Bradley levels of armor? I think the 15 plus for the reactive armor is a no-brainer. I don't know about the trophy, but in specific cases, it's great to have the option. So, straight up, you can get a recon unit that, if you want to pay for all the money, costs 175, but has an autocannon, a javelin, reactive, and trophy. Now, here's the thing, though. I would compare this to a Bradley before I get too excited. Because you actually lose a lot of speed. It's just quietly, you lose a lot of speed here. We can actually see the off-road speed now that it doesn't matter. You only go down 10 off-road here. There's a difference. That's only on-road speed you're losing a lot of. But, like, speed is kind of the advantage here, because if you compare this to a Bradley, what's the big come-up here? Like, compare this to, like, a B-Fist, right? Or the CFV. How worth the money is this, actually? I can go bust 3 reactive. Okay. So I immediately have better armor than you. And more health. I can go Iron Fist for the same level of APS. I can get an upgraded engine to go... You know, you're 70, not bad. And I have a TOW 2, which isn't as good as a Javelin, I guess, for killing, but I have way more shots for it, and it's longer range. And I have the Bushmaster just by default, right? And if I look at the full build on you, I'm paying more for this. I get the Laser Designator, I guess, because this is the CFV, not the B-Fist. But I don't know, you know? Don't you have to go Armored Brigade to pick a Bradley? You do, but, like, before we get into that, like, obviously, like, yeah, if you can't pick the Bradleys, you pick these, fair enough. But just comparing them, like, side to side here, I don't know, like, it's quite expensive. Like, it's true, someone says in chat, Cookie says without the slats, you can airdrop them, but then you don't get the APS either. You don't get, these are just, like, labs now. So I don't know, you know, like... Optics of the Striker. Yeah, like, if we want to take out the transport capability completely, we'd be comparing it to the B-Fist, but then you're losing all transport capacity. So I guess that's a good point, is it can transport 6. That is good when you consider how many squads are 6, not 3. Like, you can take weapons teams, you can take rangers, weapons teams, you can take a lot of SF and recon. But I really don't like how slow it gets on roads, as you take all the protection, honestly. I think that kind of sucks. I do think that kind of sucks. I would probably feel more comfortable running APS only on very specific things that need it, and running reactive on things that don't. With only 4 Javelins, would I go for Bushmaster Javelin on everything? I don't think I'd go... I wish I could just get Javelin without the Bushmaster. I'd pay 25 for the Javelin. I don't know, like, autocannons are often underwhelming in this game. But then if you don't take that, you're so light. I mean... You could go Grenade Launcher, and this thing is reasonable in the woods, right? Especially carrying 6. This is a nice thing to send squads of 6 in through the woods like special forces. If you mess up the speed, does it show you red versus off-road? Yes, it does. I've been doing that. Super has a carry 18k carrier thing? Oh, then maybe you can carry this in a super? That'd be interesting. Let's have a look. That's a really good question to ask. No, sorry buddy, it's 1600. I don't think the Chinook beats it either. No, Chinook is less. So you cannot heli lift strikers, which I know we're sad about. We're very sad. Yeah, I'm setting my aircon on. The Bushy 2 is a long 30mm compared to the short 25mm, right? Sure, it's a Bushmaster 2. How is it better? Let's find out. Okay, fair enough. The autocannon does have better penetration, both on the HE and the kinetic rounds. You get less of them. The Bradley has way more of them, has like 4 times as much. But you are doing more damage while the Javelin is engaging. So that's fair. I don't know, you'd have to try it out. I think it's like not as bad if you're not taking armor and this is your only choice, but it's definitely, it just feels a bit overpriced, I think. I think having to take the Bushmaster with the Javelin really fucks the Striker weapons loadouts a bit to be just that bit too expensive for my blood. No, the King Stallion goes to... I don't think the weight goes up, right? The weight stays at 1700 no matter what. Yeah, boy, bro, unfortunately, so you can't do it. You only have to fit in cargo planes. But that is something. I mean, you could fit it in cargo planes. But anyway. Similar to Roller Boomerangs for the Russians. And Yuko says, self-spotting 2.4k Javelin, but I think will be strong. No, that's true, yeah. That's true. It does have better optics. It does have better optics. It can carry a lot. It's that thing of, like, multi-rolling, right? Like, you don't need to bring another unit to transport your infantry of this. So I think that's the fair enough. That's the fair enough here, yeah. How are we on another beta? Another press thing, yeah. We're going to prevent the armor. Maybe, yeah, exactly. You can't do it. And so that's the problem, is that you have to go, for the best toys, you have to go all the bells and whistles. If you could just get Trophy and Javelin, these would be a lot easier to build, but you can't do that. Okay, then you get Predator drones. These are some of my favorites, I think, because they're so cheap. 85 points, and you still get to have Hellfires, and you can bring Stingers for barely any more. Oh no, this isn't my favorite because it's so slow. 110 speed. Fuck this thing, it sucks shit. Don't even look at it. We fucking hate this thing, don't even look at it. It's lame as fuck. What's this? 50 costs, but it's only got 2000 optics. I don't think that's very good either, buddy. That thing needs to be cheaper for that being that slow and having optics that shit. I don't know, that seems kind of garbage. I'd rather just take a proper one, I feel like. Mercury zones fly low. Oh, okay, we're so back. Okay, never mind. Never mind, this is good. Never mind, this thing is so back. Of course it flies low, because it's like the Russian ones. Never mind, we're so back, this thing is good. Of course it flies low. Duh. Okay, that thing can actually live. Never mind, put this in the deck. That's gonna be good. Go to the infantry tab. Combat engineers. Similar to combat engineers from other decks, I imagine. I'm not going to do the complete comparison for them because I'm not too excited about combat engineers or the weapons they have. They look pretty basic, bitch. You know, small D's nuts. That's what you get in here with these guys. Squad of 9s, so they're pretty healthy looking combat engineers too. Troopers for 80 cost. Same cost as the combat engineers. They come with a Javelin, but it only has 2 shots. That's 2 dead tanks in reality, I guess, but I don't know if that's even 1 here. With APS, it's like no dead tanks. I think about APS, you can kill 1 tank with that. They do get AT4s as well. Like, they're a bit of a hybrid squad. They haven't got any AA, but they have like an interesting blend of ranges of their AT there. Like, I guess think of it like you're softening them up with the Javelin on the way in, and then if they keep pushing, you AT4 them. And, you know, if you do have a supply dump nearby, which is hard to do, honestly, at the front line, but if you can make that work with, like, buildings and forest cover, you can just have infinite Javelins. Just, you know, not when you need them, but they're cheap enough that if you have, like, 4 squads of these guys on your front line, that's starting to look better, because now you've got 8 Javelins instead, right? That can actually stop a push quite cheaply, and they're 9 strong. So they're quite healthy, they can stop enemy infantry, especially those puny Russian infantry squads. Low armor is their big problem, but other than that, you know, solid. Solid squad. I wouldn't feel bad having this on the front line. What is the number of the broken shield icon mean? This is armor points. Troopers AA, and this is yet another squad that only has one Stinger launcher. 6 missiles for it, I think, is more than most, but you're paying a lot. You're paying 90 cost for one Stinger, and unlike the other squad we looked at in SOF of the Rangers, the weapons are not very impressive here, apart from the Stinger. This is probably going to be my least favorite Stinger squad in the game, if I had to guess. That does not look good. I don't like the look of that at all. Like, that feels way too expensive compared to the other ones. Mendo's a fighter squad of Stingers buys. Yeah, it is, but... yeah, it is. Yes, you do get the 3 extra men, but... I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't hate it, I guess. I just could have been spoiled by the Ranger Stinger, I think. Booker! Don't call it a tank. Do not fucking call this a tank. You will be hunted down. Swiftful says, what the fuck, how do you have access? I'm considered one of those fetid kinds of people called an influencer, so they gave it to me, I'm afraid. I'm sorry, I wish it was gold given to you guys instead. Well, fuck, not instead, fuck no, I'm not gonna lie to you, I want it, but I wish we all got to have it together. Anyway, that's why I'm here streaming it, so hopefully you get to see it. I'm sorry, that's a tank. No, it's not a tank, don't call it a tank, they're gonna sue you. It's not a tank, why tank shaped? Again, I don't know if I like the Booker if you have Marines. Hear me out. Here's the M60, right? There's like a bunch of different vehicles that do the same thing. Here's the M60. Here's the Booker. The Booker gets better heat armor on the front only, but cost 45 more. It's faster. It's gun has 100 meters more range. It does have a lot of like small improvements. But it still feels very much like an M60 to me. No, the M60 goes cheaper to get the engineering gun. Better optics, yeah, better optics. It's kind of like just a little bit better in every way. There's no like one big slam dunk feature that makes the Booker better than the M60. It's just like a little bit better in every way. I'd say the extra heat armor on the front is its biggest feature. Like I said, I feel like the M10's tactical role isn't really present in this game, while the M60 is basically just for what the suit game is. Yeah, I mean, that said, I never used the M60, so maybe I'd like the Booker more, but let's have a look. So we've got upgraded engine for you for 15, puts it to 60, 20 reverse speed. It'll never get as good a reverse speed as the Booker. Even for that price. Meanwhile, the Booker can pick up APS. I think the thing is, I don't like taking APS anymore. Like, it was all the rage on release, but it costs so much, I don't really like it. But it can get APS, so if you're into that, there you go. It's an M60 of APS. I think the other thing about the Booker is you can get the autocannon. I just don't know how good the autocannon will be. Can it kill helicopters? Yeah, the heat rounds can attack helicopters, but not at a very long range, not like the Sosna, whatever it is, for the Russians. I don't know, like, it's a good autocannon. It has very high penetration and damage compared to the other autocannons we've seen, right? I think the best one we saw was 75 in the Bushmaster 2. This is 100, and has better range. That's kind of cool. Can you compare the autocannon to the T-15 57mm? Sure, let's do that. Let's go ahead and pick you. It's a lot cheaper than the T-15, that's for sure, but the T-15 is a fucking tank. It'd be better to compare it to the Sosna, probably. And that autocannon is still better if we go back to the motherfucker in chief, the Booker. You get more ammo for AP, I guess, but not as much penetration still. Same range, that's good. But yeah, in general, detailed stats, sure, have a look. It's a lot cheaper of an option to bring this kind of thing, I guess. I think it's one of the few ways that we can bring an autocannon that's like this. Look at the ammos. No reload time. Yeah. There's not cost no thought. I don't know. I'm not a big believer in autocannons, but I think the autocannon will make or break whether this thing isn't just another M60 or Striker MGS. Speaking of which, Striker MGS, another thing containing for this like kind of like light disposable tank role. no armor, unlike the others, very flimsy. You can upgrade it like all the strikers with slat reactive and a trophy system if you like, which does give it a unique advantage here. Well, not unique, but cheaper, right? Yeah, cheaper, but it's because the armor is worse. You cannot change the main gun at all. You can only swap between grenade launcher and heavy machine gun. Hang on, let me check something. One sec. Sorry, one sec, guys. Typing to my beautiful wife. Tell chat says hi. Oh, she probably hear me. She knows chat says hi. Is this PvP available already? No, it'll be available in about 5 hours. Yeah, what was I saying?